Leave everybody here. We expect Rob to show up here hopefully in a little bit. Since there are 3 new people, Hillary, Tess, and Gail here, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to just go around the room and just for everyone to introduce themselves, let the folks know what your role is on the board and where you're, what organization you're with. I'll start out. I'm Jeff Sprack, the new president for Magip. This is my first meeting from the city of Billings. And I guess that's it. So.
Hi, I'm Gail Jorgensen. I'm from the city of Bozeman and I'm the VP.
My name is Mike Item and I work at Montana Department of Transportation. I'm the membership development coordinator. Go ahead, Jason. You're just here.
Again, I'm Jason Danielson, former technical committee speaker.
Mike Powell, Yellowstone County GIS manager, and I am past president.
Tessa Schweitzer, City of Great Falls, GIS specialist there, and I'm the new technical person.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Springenberg. I'm with Lewis Park County City of Helena GIS office. My role on the Magip board is I'm a representative from the MWAC, Montana Land Information Council. Formerly that they're going to be called Montana Geospatial. So that have been decided. Yeah. So that's the new thing, but yeah, we'll see what happens after our first board meeting with that. They dramatically reduced the number of MLIC members, and so we'll have to see how we refill those positions. So I'm being the representative from that organization as a GIS professional.
Mary Schreier, City of Bozeman, GIS specialist, and a conference liaison.
I'm Claire Mock, I'm the secretary. I'm the GIS specialist of the board. Is Aaron?
I believe they should be.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm here.
All right.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Nate Wolf. I work for the DNRC as a GIS analyst here. And yeah, I'm a leader.
Aaron, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. I'm Aaron Vaughn, GIS coordinator at City Great Falls. Former secretary, and just thought I would chime in if needed and also here to help answer any secretarial questions if they come up. So thanks.
All right. And did Greg jump off or are you still here, Greg?
I'm still here. My name's Greg Brooks. I'm with Datamark. We're one of the vendors in Montana, also known as, or our parent company is Michael Baker International. You may know us better there with some of the work we've done. I was just trying to get involved with the GIS community in Montana best I can, and jumped in my car and started to run over there and didn't see an address. So ran back and logged in remotely.
Okay. Well, thank you for being logged in remotely. We will break for lunch. So if you want to join us in person after at 12:30, you're more than welcome. And thank you for being part of our meeting. I appreciate it.
I'll do that. Thanks.
All right. Couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. Housekeeping. I put together a PowerPoint. If you like the agenda, just where we can see the agenda, I can go back to that old style. So if you want to give me feedback over lunch or whatever on that, or let me know about that. The other thing is I created within the board folder within the Google Drive a board packet, sent out an email on that, and it had all the materials for this meeting, like the new full scope contract, Jeff Edstrom's discussion on changes to the request for assistance policy. So I'd appreciate feedback on that too. I was hoping that could be a place where we could review these documents before the meeting, and that way we can have a little more robust discussion, and maybe even a more efficient meeting. So, any thoughts on that would be appreciated. So, did anybody have a chance to look at that folder? Okay. Good. Good. I was hoping to get the information in there, about the, strategic planning session. I had a document on how much it costs for each location and the feedback from the survey, but I just ran out of time. I had an issue pop up on me yesterday and ran out of time for that. So anyway, I apologize for that. Let's see. Does anybody have any changes to the order of the meeting? All right, with that, with no revisions to the agenda, has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from the last meeting that Aaron put together? All right, with that, is there any changes or revisions to the meeting? Hearing no changes or revisions, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting? I have a motion from Mike Powell to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Do we have a second on that? All right, second from Nate. So I have a motion and a second on that. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll go with just a regular vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Hearing none opposed, the minutes are approved. We'll move on to the next discussion topic for the meeting. All right. So with that, I've got reports. First up in reports is Nate.
Yeah, I guess this past month, worked with Rob to get the scholarship checks out to both of the recipients, one at MSU and the other at the University of Montana, and then also the 3 12 and then worked a little bit with Jeff more on the budget. And
Hey, those are the treasurer's reports. Is Rob online or here yet? I don't see him. We can skip over that and move over to member development with Mike Eden. Item.
Yep. I don't have a ton to report. I think Alicia sent out the summary report for the social media, but I haven't reviewed it. She sent it to you, right? Or I think Michelle may have received it. Oh yeah, she's online.
No, she's not. She's in Idaho on another conference.
She said she might show up around 12:45.
Okay. So I'll look into that, and next month we can go over the social media report for the year.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Next, we will move on to the conference committee. Eric.
I don't have much to report as of now. Jeff, you had some good ideas for keynote speakers that we might try to start moving forward. Maybe some folks from Esri, perhaps, and then we're going to start getting a list of buildings locals as backup. But that all the progress that's been made so far.
I mean, I know we're taking a break. When should we start really getting in the time? I got people that are got ideas.
Technically September. I don't think last year we got started till October really, so maybe just give ourselves an extra month on top of that. I think everything went pretty smoothly. Yeah. So give ourselves even a little more time to get a lot done, but yeah.
Well, thanks, Eric. All right, technical committee. Tessa, you're new, so do you have any reports on the technical committee? you and Jason have touched base on developing workshops and things like that, right?
Yeah, it sent me a lot of really good information.
Okay.
Figured.
Yeah, it's like good help with that.
All right. Thank you, Tessa. Is it
Hey,
Tessa?
Joe.
Okay, all right, yes.
Yeah, the audio is pretty rough, actually.
Is it
Not
really?
not hearing much, so I don't know. I'm trying to kind of, help Hillary out with a few of the notes, but a lot of it's not coming through. So I just want to remind Hillary that if she can catch any of this, it might be helpful. I'm trying to outline a little bit of it, but not getting a real good feed on this.
Okay, so are you hearing me and not the rest of the group, or is it everybody that's just kind of garbled?
Yeah, no, it's the distance from the mic, I think, that you're closer to. I think that's why, and so then it's reverberating and it's sounding distant and kind of muddy.
Okay. I apologize.
No, yeah, I figured it's going to be kind of a tough one, so I thought maybe if we doubled up, it'd be easier to get some meeting minutes on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you hear?
thanks.
Okay. Hopefully it gets better as we get past the reports. We'll see. Yeah, Nate, I don't know if there's anything we can do.
Yeah,
To
I'm gonna,
okay. Okay.
otherwise, I'm not-
Okay. All right. Nate is gonna submit a help request to IT here, and we're gonna see if we can get some help on fixing the audio.
Right on. I guess if anybody talks, if they can get close to the mic, I don't know what the logistics involved.
Yeah, I'm on the far edge. Unfortunately, I've not in the so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we were trying to get it to work on that one, and it wouldn't for some reason. The mic wasn't working over the one for the room here. So, all right. So Megan's not here, so we won't have a report on the web subcommittee. Emily, or whatever it's called now. Right?
Well, they still have it as a MWAC. But yeah, our next meeting will be Friday, next week, actually, Friday, June 23rd. It'll be at 10 a.m. We're meeting here in Helena at the Lewis Park Library. See, this is the first time we've met since the conference. So the council will consider action on past executive summary, standard reports from Magip, GIS coordinator about the MLIA grant program, GIS coordination and strategic goal implementation. State librarian will discuss the MLIA financial report, and they will then discuss the 2023 legislative session, COVID-19 pandemic response wrap up, and House Bill 343, which is the MLIA legislative changes task force. So the meeting will be followed. We're only going to meet for an hour, actually, officially. The meeting will then be followed by a work session at 11 to discuss revised legislation and future of the council. No business will be conducted during that said meeting. So anyone that wants to comment, reach out to Aaron no later than 24 hours before. And just so you know, following the work session, there'll be a no-host social at 10 Mile Creek Brewery. Again, no business to be conducted. Just fun and frivolity.
All right. I was planning on attending that remotely. I hope that's all right to give our update.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just let Aaron know.
Okay.
So we can make sure she has it on her agenda. Because yeah, they do have, it'll also be, attendance will also be available on Zoom.
We'll do that.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
All right. Michelle is not available today, so we won't have an update from Michelle. Maybe we'll get something a little bit later when she's able to attend around 12:45. Local government SIG, I don't see Andrew attending virtually. I don't think they've met since the last meeting, have they?
I can press. Yeah,
Well, their next meeting is
next week.
next week.
Yeah. Yeah, we had changed some meetings around. It's typically, it is going to typically remain that third Thursday. We just had to do some juggling, this month, and then maybe next month, where we're meeting on this next Tuesday, so. Yeah, so we have that coming up for local government SIG, we meet not today at 2 p.m., but next week, Tuesday, the 20th at 2 p.m.
Okay.
And if anyone wants, I think he did share an agenda, but I don't know. What's the side part of the local government one?
The city manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can if you'd like.
If you want to just tack that on to this side of things.
Yeah.
So we met, what, was it last week?
It's been-
It feels like 2 weeks ago, but, we're, having a, municipal, city GIS manager meeting. Did we decide quarterly or 3 times a week, 3 times quarterly? We had that in Bozeman last week. Those who attended were, well, Gail hosted. She did an excellent job with that, and thank you for everything you did. Gail, it was amazing. Lee was there from Missoula. I was there, Aaron was there, and Aaron from Great Falls. And did I miss anybody?
I know Eric couldn't make it because he had, and Aaron Fashway was invited but couldn't make it. So,
And we'll plan on meeting here in 3 months, right?
as soon as you fill out the due.
Oh. Look it up. I'm sorry, I was on vacation.
No pressure.
So, sorry, Gail.
No problem. And actually, the idea of the idea is to get the city managers that work in sophisticated architecture that have a little bit of different needs than what we're seeing that the county has. Just so that we can talk about some of those issues that we face that maybe others don't face when they are the GIS department. Just kind of addressing this. Went really well.
Yeah. As far as the local LiDAR SIG, I have reached out to some people. There's nothing new since the last meeting. In fact, I think I'm going to try to reschedule it from July to August. I just haven't had time to put anything together on that yet. So sorry, Rob. We'll try to get to.
That's okay.
So we'll try to get something, an update for you in July. Hopefully we'll have a meeting scheduled in August. So Rob, do you want to give an update on scholarships and grants?
Sure, yeah, they down there and recipients and I've been in touch with some teachers and offered, we have point of contact for them throughout the process and some within school and taking a little bit more of the hands on the
Are you experienced with water?
what's that?
Are you through balance with water?
Well, the school project that we have is the central school and the rural and the local school working together. So, we're going to participate in the things at the central school and they from that. Quite sound and other. And we'll see. That's the idea that is talk. Next year, along.
Can you explain what the project's gonna be, this collaboration?
Yeah, so the reason it came about is because when I was reviewing the applications, the acceptance school, they had seen a presentation by the UN aeronautical engineering course. And, you know, so they got kind of excited about that and they applied for a grant to do something not very sort of nebulous with drones, right? And they wanted to do something like that, and then the Belgrade school wanted to do some needs mapping on a section of state land next to their school. And so that's my specialty, what I've been doing the last decade or more is remote sensing of vegetation. Right, so I thought, hey, how about you guys work with these guys and both of you can have a better project or a more, you know, fully developed project. So Belgrade folks are going to focus on the ground stuff, sampling, things of that nature. The Sentinel folks will the flights, and then we'll use the on-ground data and some algorithms to classify the pixels into hash tags.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's more real world stuff. I mean, that's what we use in professional school.
Where do the drums come from?
So, I work with the University of Montana Office of Autonomous Aerial Systems. And I pump a lot of money into that program and they willing to do it in time for me and provide, you know, instruction and going some. It's good for us.
Thank you, Rob. I think that's it for reports, unless anybody has anything else. All right, we'll move on to the next agenda item. Hopefully. Which is the budget discussion. So, is it all right if I stop sharing my screen and you can share yours, Nate, on the budget itself? Just give us a second here for that transition. And I'm going to pull up my email.
Can you guys see everything online?
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, so made a few changes, since we went over this last year, or last meeting, last month. I added the 2022 actuals, so we could kind of compare one more year. Along with this year's actual. And so some of the major changes we see are an increase to membership, which is due to the price increase. And we saw that here reflected in the actual, made about almost $4,000 more in membership revenue. And then another change is registration, that's decreased from what we estimated last year. And that just reflects what we actually saw in Bozeman, and then an expected decrease in registration, in billings. Just because it's kind of more out of the way, and that's kind of what we want from previous conference. So what we made in Bozeman last year was around $40,000. In Missoula was around $38,000. And so what we're thinking is $37,000. And yeah, so I guess we can discuss if we might expect more or less. That's up to that. Yeah, yeah.
And Nate, you base those numbers off of how many people attended last time in Billings, right, too?
Yeah.
And Nate, can I ask a question about the registration? So I know that there was an increase in the cost of registration. Did we actually see a decrease in the number of people registered? Does that make sense?
Not sure if we increased registration cost. I'm not sure when the last one. This year it was 245. And in this one it was also.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking actually to become a member of Magip.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we increased that from $30 to $50. And.
Well, I was just wondering about the actual number, because we raised the membership,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
did we lose people because they didn't want to pay that extra amount? Versus did we get more? And to be honest with you, I think our registration went up. I mean, I think our membership went up a little bit, I don't think there was a downward spiral or, you know, kind of flat. Yeah, it was kind of right, but I don't think it was.
And if you look at.
We should though, yeah, we should, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
Michelle,
track that and see.
Michelle would be.
Okay.
The registration cost is the same.
But definitely, Michelle.
I will get a note, to have Michelle break that off for us.
Do we have a map?
We need to make them, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think Megan maintains the map.
We have the map with its sensitive information.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I was thinking it would be interesting to see how many members we have that don't attend the conference.
Yeah.
To see if membership is like the registration for the conference.
I think that's a great idea. Because I think that would help if there's less people coming. That would be nice to know why they're not coming. Is it truly the distance, or is it, some other reason?
Or if people are becoming members because they want. So they're thinking.
Wow. Having a fun.
Yes.
So yeah, we can adjust this if people, you know, or less. Right now, it's showing us that we're not.
What do you think about that? Is it more expensive to hold the conference in Billings? Like,
No, I mean, that 85 means what? That's how much we're bringing in, right?
Yeah, this is total revenue, so this is
Yeah, that's what we're bringing in,
from
so
the
we're
revenue
still,
from the Geocon and then.
yes, we're still above Missoula. Revenue. a little behind in Bozeman, but that's kind of understandable because Bozeman, we got all the students.
For active provinces.
So we wondered the same thing, Gail. We were under the understanding that the northern was going to be cheaper than the Braintree in Bozeman, but after Nate ran the numbers with Michelle, it appears that it's going to be more expensive. The northern's going to be more expensive. And I don't know, have we heard yet from Michelle on whether the tech, that could be another significant increased cost if we have to pay for a tech fee for access to their AV equipment. It could even be a greater cost. And I'm jumping ahead. I'm sorry, I don't need to let me go. So.
And so, we'll just work down there and we'll that next. Sponsorship, left the same, what we had in 2023. And then kind of what we saw in Bozeman, which would be the two exhibitor and sponsorship. And then, so, yeah, for the workshop revenue, in Dillon or Bozeman, we generated $29,000. In Missoula, we generated $19,000. And some of this is due to having David House, some of his classes offered, we saw an increase. And so right now, this is kind of expecting that revenue from his classes too. But we'll see an increase in the fees and honorariums, because David House classes, they cost around $5,000. So on top of their expenses. Yeah.
Got a lot of good feedback from David.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna, do the revenues for David exceed the cost? They do.
Oh, I don't know,
Yeah, I mean, he charges the set fee, and then we add $80 to that.
Okay, so it does.
So really, it doesn't cost us.
Okay.
So it'll. What's that? Yeah, which again, we're quite popular this year, and we did get a lot of great feedback, and he was ecstatic about coming and wants to continue to participate if we wanted to.
So what I'm hearing from you, it's the same model as what Eric does.
Yes.
So whatever people sign up, we're just gonna get a bump on top of that. So maybe we do want to bump that revenue category up a little bit, or maybe it's where it needs to be for
yeah, it's kind of
sponsorship.
already bumped up.
Okay.
quite a bit.
Okay.
I like 26. I like 2650. That's yeah.
So getting down to the geocon expenses. So for the Missoula conference, we rented poster panels to display all of the posters that were presented at the conference. And then in Bozeman, we just hung them up on the wall and then got the easel to put them on. And so that saved quite a bit of money. And so that is kind of a question going into the Billings conference. Do we want to do the same thing, or should we expect the rent, which are
Did you that? No. Although the focus is going to be up around the same thing. Again, yeah, I mean, talk to Michelle about that a little bit more about that. And also we need to determine if we're gonna both through what we're going down, video stuff coming up, or the web apps. About discuss. I don't know. I don't want to sway it. Both through.
More digital.
Yeah.
It could be potentially wrapped into something like speed. 11 o'clock.
That's a great idea.
5 minutes.
Yeah, but put it in a room then, not outside, you know, because we kind of did that in Missoula, and that was out in front of everybody, and that was just the way of talking and great. I would put it into a room, a big room.
Yeah, whatever.
Or, you're right.
Some format.
Yeah.
I recall, like, maybe this. We did the let out, we kind of, everybody gave a little quick talk. People were drinking and nobody was listening, but the party was super close to that.
Right.
Yeah. There is something that's about being lost in looking at them, but we could also like put them on a projector, like, so they could give their presentation of the posters, but then while everyone is still charging at like a slideshow of their.
And we save a couple trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we can talk to someplace in Billings to get some.
Why if the city planner for Billings has got like 8 of them already, so.
Yeah, I think that would be enough right there.
So,
A couple of years ago, I was working on the NWGIS conference. This was like right when COVID hit. And we were discussing this whole theme of moving from posters to story maps and apps, and recognizing that we really felt at the time, we truly felt like we needed both. And so we had looked at a big screen and then attaching a computer to it so that people could click through it. And then I think you guys were using the same app that we use. And you can actually put the link to the story maps on the application, and then people can go view them, and then they can also vote on them. And we actually had 2 categories. We had a category for posters and we had a category for story maps, which kind of broke it up. And I don't remember if you guys did that this last year. I felt like it was just posters.
Well,
We
it
actually
was-
separated. Was it separate?
Yeah, we had web apps too, and they were in the room, and that room was quite packed, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was a small room actually, and it was quite packed.
It was a great-
Were they separate prizes?
there were no prizes for the, or there was one prize for the web map application.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I
think that
think
works
we
really well.
could judge this,
Mhm.
assess. Strategy, based on the submissions we have. We
Yeah.
might even have 2 different categories. And.
That's what we did.
I think for the question for the diesel, though, I think we can leave that. I think
You got him at the
I
link.
think we should be lost or something.
Big ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we'll just leave this expense out for this coming year.
Yeah,
I think rely on people. Yeah. Audio visual. So this is something that Michelle is gonna clarify with the venue in Billings. Their facility cost is $5,200, and we're not sure if that includes the audio visual. So, looking at the prices from previous years, we're kind of thinking it should, just because facility was between, $4,000. So she's gonna 35.5. And then, food. So yeah, that's adjusted down from the government conference and the Missoula one, just expected those were kind of expected last registration. So, but we are still kind of keeping that a little high, more towards the median numbers than the voting numbers. Increasing price. Appreciation, so this is appreciation for all the speakers that come to the conference and give presentations for people to listen to, and we spent yeah, just $4,700 on different things from chocolates to caramel. Just keeping that the same with a little bit of adjustment for like a 3%. And then fees and honorariums, this is the expenses we pay Eric Templer for his services and David Howe. And then this last year we paid the keynote speaker $500 for coming at the conference. And then travel, yeah, we budgeted last year $1,000 to help get any speakers to the conference. But we found a local one to speak, which helped us a lot. So going into next year, yeah, I guess my question is, what should we budget for that? Should we count on another local speaker? But it sounds like you might have some speakers possibly.
I think we've got a budget without just in case. Right.
Yeah, not just
I don't care. That's the case. I mean, if you don't spend it, don't spend it. I think it's smart. So.
Yeah. We can put that. And then geocon supplies. So this last year, we purchased the Sketch app to help everyone see the schedule on their phones and kind of see the events and where they want to go. And that costs $600. And then also we purchased conference swag, which included name tags and coffee and the little tote bags that were using that. Yeah. I'm not sure why.
I still have mine from the
And I
conference.
saw one from conference too. Yeah.
Good idea to set up a recycle bin or something, right?
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Unless you have to leave the souvenir.
Yeah, I gave mine back.
Sketch app, annual fee.
Yes. It's a one-time cost.
Oh, so
The one time annually.
Yeah, okay.
So we could use it if we had events. I think we did it in 16 minutes. Okay.
It's not a one-off, it's not per event, it's annual.
Subscription.
Right, that's my understanding of that, right?
That's a technical.
Okay. But yeah, that's my understanding is that you think we have now.
And then also in this category, this past year was the $800 that we used to purchase everyone's first year at the meetup the first night. And that was covered by our engineers. They provided a sponsorship, so their revenue is faster. But the way it was accounted for was here, so it was included in the invoice received from. And then printing and reproduction, so that's all of printing, flyers.
Do we want to contribute to the ordinance? The But those, they continue to keep you strong.
We pay $600 for the app to have it scheduled digitally. Then we're printing a flyer. We can find that somewhere.
Always. I don't remember working the schedule. I don't remember.
Flyer was just general. There are a few printed schedules. There's
Yep.
about, they print out a stack of 30. I mean, some people ask for them.
Yeah, it's just a black and white. Yeah. I like some.
Yeah,
Well, you can do
and I think, I think just keep it low, just print out like 20 or 30 of them for the people that actually want to carry one around, and then just have one posted so someone can just look, check up on the time, but
cool.
So there was, just to be clear, it was $916.56 for the conference in Bozeman for printing materials, is that right?
Yeah,
Maybe it would be good to take a look at that and see what we actually printed and see if there's anything that you cannot print. That would be just a good way to manage that, because if we could bring the cost of printing down and not have to be recycling stuff, that would be even better. But maybe we just have to figure out what we printed first.
Does that include name tags? So
yeah, well, we're at that, so.
Okay.
On the invoice I get from her, it says print.
And it's not like
so
detailed.
I think that does include like name tag, and it does include $200 printed, for the back stop magnet. And they have that,
What is that?
I printed out some poster cards for the conference to like hand out at, if we put them on the tables at the, stuff.
and just promote Megan and let them know what we're about. So
Like back sheet as well.
yeah, it's nice.
I think it does include that sponsor,
Oh, that's a good one.
the big sponsor poster or whatever as well.
Did it get put on board or anything, or it was just a piece of paper that was printed like on water?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it was kind of had a different material
Oh,
to it, so it was.
It was everything.
Yeah, so you could put it on the easel.
Yeah.
Eric, do you remember anything else that was printed?
I honestly can't tell what was like recycled versus what was printed for the, I mean, stuff like the sponsor and exhibit, page, and that was printed for the conference, but yeah, I can't remember what it.
Color.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was emailing Michelle, so I missed it. Did you guys talk about the coasters too? I wonder if that's a big printing cost, because we had all those coasters on the at every table that had next year's event.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that, I bet that's probably a big part of it.
and then there was a man for every.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think those posters were not.
I can see that those would be expensive because they're certain paper and a little heavier. I think that it would be really cool if we could have a sustainability theme as part of our conference as we move forward. So in Boise, sorry, not Bozeman, I do that all the time, sorry. If I say Boise, I probably really mean Bozeman. Recently, we've been doing a sensitive lands project and doing public outreach, and as part of that public outreach, we've been doing a sustainability thing. So if we can source things that are local or use any kind of like to have utensils that are biodegradable, that kind of thing, I think it makes it super cool. And I think everybody, just because you brought up the topic that you're concerned about it, we should probably put it at the forefront. Just a thought. Probably more expensive.
I am, and I'm even emailing Michelle as well.
She's gonna be like that.
Okay, so, yeah, it's gonna be good. What we're. So looking at the contract and talking to detail, it's due to increase the 1 hour. So then so total is 15% from what we paid.
Like, I did want to ask you, you know, you got the email. I just sent about it. I feel that Alicia was busy during conference. Just trying to hold. But now, much as we still want to get out there, get our name out there to social media sites and stuff. Does she need to have an extra hour? Is what I'm wondering, because she's gonna be down, there's gonna be some downtime. Yeah, do we really need that extra hour? Obviously, I mean, I know the conference time again is probably going above or beyond her hours that we assigned for her.
I wonder if she has been tracking her hours.
That's what I'm wondering too.
Well, Michelle said that she was, that her and Mikkel had a conversation about that. And they averaged it out per month and it was 3 hours per month that she was spending right now. And that's why,
And we had a schedule for 2.
yeah,
And wouldn't you think that this number would be good to compare to membership numbers or number of people that attend the conference? Because the whole point of having something in social media is to increase your membership. So if you're not increasing your membership, is it worth the extra dollars? And I don't think that we know that. It's pretty-
No, and you're right, and that was the whole point of this year, getting this whole thing going with social media, so now we have a year in.
Yeah,
Now we can start looking into that and see if that's gonna increase our stuff a little bit, you know, membership and stuff, that was kind of the point, is get our name out there a little bit more. You know, promote ourselves a little bit, maybe increase our membership.
Right, I think that's the goal is, or I hopefully the goal is to stay neutral, cost neutral on that.
Yeah.
So as we could look at, I mean, here's the other way to do it, say we have this much money, how many hours? Right,
mhm.
so if we take that approach and we look at the top number there of the increase in revenue for membership, we could say that's the amount. We will contribute to resources.
And would it be possible to moderate her hours so that, say, in December, she starts ramping up to 3 hours a week through the conference, and maybe slightly after the conference, if they do a survey, and then do less hours during the time when probably people aren't going to be wanting to do a membership? Is that something that you could do? I don't know.
But again, these are questions for Michelle.
Okay,
And full
okay,
scope.
okay,
But yes, those are valid questions, for sure.
yeah.
And then also, I think something important to keep in mind, the conference is conference attendance is a much bigger contributor to revenue than membership.
Got it.
Membership is fixed.
Okay.
Cost first because of the very far. Conference.
so if Alicia's position is really about increasing membership, one of the things that she's been spending a lot of her time on, and maybe I'm wrong about this, Mike, but is posting job openings for the Magip community. And perhaps that's something we want to look at and see if she's spending a lot of time, that's a place maybe she could reduce. If I don't know, is that worthwhile expenditure for what she's doing?
That's kind of what I was getting at. Then increasing membership is limited. Only so many GIS professionals in the state. Right?
Yeah.
So that's going to top off no matter what you do. But I think we're talking about member satisfaction. It's inclusion. It's not so I think only looking at it as trying to increase. It's not. Right.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, I think that's a reason, but the other reason, of course, is get the word out and make us proud.
That's, I think, yeah,
you know,
that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Right, there's
Right.
typically 250 vendors.
Right.
No matter what.
Right.
I think she's done a good job too, sending reminders to mega members that, hey, we have here are some of the, resources that are available. And she recently sent one about training. So,
Yeah, that was,
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's
saw that, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
I think you're right, I think the hiring, job postings and stuff, that could probably. Not what we want her to do.
I will not argue that I think that she should be doing it. Just because we have a position posted right now, and we made the decision not to post that position on jobs.com and USA Jobs, and kept it very local. We only advertised it on USA, Magip, Handshake, which is all the universities, and locally at the Chronicle. We didn't do anything beyond that. So from my perspective as a manager, I don't know, maybe you have a different perspective, Jeff, but having those emails go out on social media, I think is a huge benefit, especially if it includes LinkedIn.
I'm not gonna disagree with you based on what we talked about with Lee.
Yeah,
The ability to hire from out of state is very difficult
Yeah.
anymore. And if you can hire somebody within your city, that's gonna be your best option, because the cost of living is just so difficult to get people to move to
I
Montana.
think it's, we're at my database, where you do.
professionals, absolutely.
I do like the job posting because it's another set, it's another source.
Oh, I agree with all that, I was just trying to throw that out there that, if we're gonna try to limit, if we're gonna keep her at 2 hours. I mean, I guess I need to talk to her, and I would like to see the numbers, I would assume that she had that in her report.
Yeah, and I'm assuming her monthly hours are somewhat average throughout the year.
Right.
So around conference time, she might be working 5 hours, but this time of year, maybe only 1 or 2 hours. And I think her graphic design skills are definitely a benefit as well. She created a lot of the graphics for the conference, and all the social media posts. So I think having that in her skill set is also valuable.
I agree.
That's cool. So maybe when Michelle is here, we can get a cost for them analysis and see how it's going.
We
It's
do
still-
definitely need to have a big talk.
And I think that's probably a deep dive that we need to do at the strategic street, the retreat as well.
Well, we can't wait that one through. Budget,
No,
right, we gotta have talk
But-
to her before.
in my opinion, I guess we're still in the infancy state of all this. This is really not even been a year since
Right.
Alicia's been out there, so.
No, I agree with
Yeah.
that, yeah, obviously, yeah, a deeper dive is very strategic meeting for her, trying to figure out what she needs to do, absolutely.
What I'm hearing from the group is that we're seeing tremendous benefit from Alicia, and or she's meeting our expectations anyway, and we'll see if that reaps benefits. So
It might also be worth looking into, maybe having her do some of the wildlife management or the website management. I know we had talked about.
That's taken away from Michelle, then, because that's what Michelle does.
We're talking about having position hired for what Megan does.
Megan does the website, but. The wild apricot, the administration stuff, that's Michelle and stuff. But Megan does all the website. Front page, and that's what we put back into the thing where we'll hire.
That's something we should do if she has experience with website design.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. I think we didn't want to hire, when we talked about that in the past, we didn't want to hire out because we wanted somebody that had knowledge of, had knowledge of maybe, where they knew what we were kind of looking for already, what we didn't.
Mike, I was there with you, but after we work things out with Megan, I'm more comfortable with Megan doing that. And when you're gonna see, I don't want to steal Nate's thunder, but when you see the bottom line, we don't have room right now in the budget for something.
Yeah,
like
right,
that.
exactly.
So,
Are we agreeing to just give her an extra hour then, or are we waiting on Michelle?
I think we should do
And
Michelle.
small?
Is Michelle going to be here this afternoon?
I don't think long enough for us to actually have a good conversation with them. I think we need to have another meeting with them next week or something.
And this is for a renewal of the budget then, for, I'm sorry.
It'll be that part of the contract.
When is that due?
End of June?
Yeah, it starts July 1.
Yeah,
Okay, so it needs to be increased.
yeah.
Maybe we should look at the bottom line and then come back.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying we probably need to either, I don't know, of all of us, if we have to have a special meeting or just the president might be and Michelle and the treasurer, or whoever needs to call. Maybe discuss it a little further or get the ideas from everybody else and what they think about us. We're all happy with it. That's not the question.
and Michelle said she'll join us at 1 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's gonna get the plenary going for a conference and then she'll join us at 1 o'clock.
And so, yeah, we'll talk more with full scope and hours we would expect. So then next is accounting, and this is, what we pay to have Magip's taxes done each year. And, in the past, it's been $350, and then this year it was raised to $400. So, just expecting an increase next year. I don't really expect one, to talking to Michelle, the accountant really hadn't changed prices for a long time until this past year, so. I just kept that around. And then, postage, this just includes stamps and envelopes. We use the mail, checks for postal awards and the invoice, the postal. Admin, travel and lodging, so this includes, postal travel, each, Magip's quarterly board meetings, and so we pay for Michelle's gas, to get here. And then also lodging for the strategic retreat each year. And then also, we pay for, Michelle and then also another employee from Full Scope to travel to the conference. And be there to help us out. And then we pay for their hotel room, their gas, and then per diem as well. And that was, the per diem was like 250 for Michelle, and then another 250 for so in the budget, I just kind of put down what we saw this year. Missoula, we didn't see this expense because it took place in Missoula, and Michelle and didn't have to travel to the event, and we did it over.
What do we base the per diem cost on?
Oh, what they call us.
A lot of the meals were provided. Conference.
I guess I know if my per diem with the DNRC, I can't count that are provided by the company.
Right, same with us, they check.
Yeah. Or maybe we, yeah, look into that next year, so. Keep that in mind. This is what we paid to have QuickBooks and organize our financing. That's $30 per month. Conferencing, this is what we paid for the Zoom subscription. Posting, this is the wild apricot fee. It's been around $2,000, and then this year they're increasing their rate by $530, and so I just wanted to account for that. Payment processing, this is what is charged, a percentage of each transaction through Wild Apricot is, I think it's like a 1% fee or something, and so we have to pay that transaction. Surveys, this is the survey monkey fee that we pay each November. And that's $372. We've talked about keeping survey monkey or going with a Esri online subscription, so we can do survey monthly free. And that subscription costs $550. So we can kind of have to weigh the benefits of that. So I don't know if one.
I think let's get to the end of the budget and then we can have that discussion.
Monthly annual report, that's the $20 annual fee that we pay to the Secretary of State. Lodging, this is for the strategic retreat every year, and then food that is provided there, and then each of the quarterly board meetings we have. And then taxes is $10, and that's just taxes charged to our whole part of the account for the interest that we pay. Insurance, this is what we pay, and it's all covered. Program expenses, so this is things like awards, grants, marketing, and scholarships. Everything is pretty much the same. Swag, we approved $2,000 last year, and looking at our swag inventory, we agreed last time to reduce this by $1,000 for this year. Longevity award, this is given every other year. And so this, the conference in Billings, we expect to give out 2 awards that comes $5 on a 5 or so. Posters, so this includes posters and awards that we give for the GIS day, and then posters during the conference. And this last year, or this year, we decided to include the amount we present at the Bozeman Earth Science Colloquium, because we expect that every year. And so instead of taking that out of assistance and having them request that, we're just gonna include that in the poster category.
Was that held in Bozeman this year? Is it always in Bozeman?
Yeah.
Is it always in Bozeman? Okay.
And then, yeah, right now we're keeping grants the same at $3,000. Assistance, this is to pay for any students' registration fees that are coming to the conference. And then student travel. So this is to get any student that is farther than some mileage to the conference. And last year and the year before, we didn't spend any money in this category. So I'm wondering if we could use that, or maybe let people know that that's available.
I don't see students getting huge benefit of that, but I think that came up off this last year when the time you know, we talked about maybe
almost like a grant. I think that's a great idea for travel. To get them to the conference or something.
Registration for travel, for whatever. Sort of, work. Good way to support our membership. Like, you know, it's in the state, we have the fund.
You could also leave that fund open for anyone. Because I feel like students, like, if it's not entirely paid for, they're not. Doing that. Like usually there's a budget in the school or that the teacher has, and membership are paid for. Like, I don't think with students, it's actually travel expense that is gonna stop them.
Well, and last year, can we talk about, so we were in Bozeman for the conference specifically, I'm speaking specifically to the conference. And I know that there was a conversation about grant money for the MSU students. Eric, do you remember how that got played out? I know that Jenny worked with the students, whether or not they received a grant, but they live there, right? They're already in
Yeah, so
Bozeman coming to the conference.
It's in line with we have.
Okay,
We have the program where we do that registration to students. Volunteer.
oh,
That's, and we recall student scholarship, which is totally school everybody is.
okay, got it.
Schools not the higher ed scholarship, right? So.
Okay,
We name that is that.
okay, gotcha. I love the idea of making it available to Magip members.
Yeah, because people talk about that, like even workshops.
Yeah.
You know, when he wants to attend Python workshop, you know, going to Python workshops to do $100. So,
Yeah, and I just know just with what happened with Tommy Lucia and his work environment was really challenging and they didn't support him and he wasn't able to attend the conference just because they didn't support him financially, among other things, but I think DNRC was kind of experiencing some of those similar things. And I think this is the conversation that goes back to the idea that those single person GIS professionals that are running the county need additional support.
yeah, I mean, I like the ideas for this, benefit. Kinds of things, and it shows that we're a community that knows what it's members.
I love it.
Yeah, so I guess we can keep this the same and then kind of discuss how we want to promote this and make sure people they know that it's available.
On social media.
Yeah.
I mean, if we keep reducing, we look at some opportunities to reduce some stuff, right? We reduce some costs.
Yeah.
I don't want to announce to everybody either. Social media, then we're gonna have everybody. You know, we gotta have some kind of balance of like first 10 people or the board needs to approve, or, you know, some kind of grant thing, or, you know, the board needs to approve, oh, these guys are, these guys are joking around. They're trying to get money where they can, these people for the vision, system kind of thing.
Do we already have a policy in place for that?
Or, I think we need to tighten that up a little bit.
Good question.
Plus for assistance to.
Yeah.
Do we,
Like that.
does anybody know, do we have a policy in place?
I think it's the best for assistance.
Well, we have a good discussion on changing the request for assistance.
Yeah, that's something.
Later, so that can be added to that discussion as well.
So, I guess for this, should we maybe change just the title of this category and what do we want to set this up?
I feel like if it's gonna be something promoted, you need to have money, so kind of put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
And if it's really something that you want to promote, you should have money there. So I don't think that you should decrease it from 250, and if the remaining balance is $900.
Well, this is what we, budgeted for last year, $900. So for this year's budget, I just put 250. I think,
I think we should.
So it's here, I think this deserves some talking about, also. Because we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna conference, attendance. Awards that we give. Mixing and matching stuff. Talk about student stuff. So I think volunteering and coming to the conference, that's. But if the scholarship package is enough, so we have 3,000 allocated to the scholarship and the my life in the word matter. But that package is project. You can do the conference registration. Then
No, right there. Yeah, didn't expect it. Student scholarship recipient travel 150 miles more. That's what that student travel is all about.
right, so scholarship is what we would call the conference volunteers.
Okay, so that, yeah,
Right,
so,
so I think if we allocate.
Okay.
The actual scholarship is
well, yeah, that's, and that's what I was thinking, that people who receive that scholarship are the ones that are getting paid to travel.
because we want.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was all part of that scholarship.
Yes. But it doesn't that,
Yeah, to your point, we need to change the language for the volunteers.
it's really just the way.
And that's on the agenda. I think I'm asking that, sorry, that was a question. Isn't that on the?
No,
agenda?
not for changing the verbiage.
Oh, okay.
It's more the request for assistance policy, how we handle that, but I don't know if this dovetails into that, or these two similar conversation or the same conversation, or is it I think it's a
Something that
different.
should be on the agenda. Just, and I would keep it on the agenda just to remind everybody so that we have time to talk about it. We can really dive into it. Either finish it, get it off together, keep it on their discussion. Final resolution.
On,
On renaming the thing.
okay,
Changing the wording. And it's possible, we can just, I mean, I know, maybe you mentioned that it's really hard to rename this stuff on your budget itself. But, you know, instead of calling it student travel, we may want to consider just calling it travel or, you know, so it opens up to everybody. If we want to do that route too, but that's just
we may just want to get rid of the line item and create a new line item for that.
It's true, there's a lot of opportunities to streamline doing too much of that. Makes it difficult.
right.
Yeah.
Good. So I don't know if you came to a conclusion, so if we want to change it.
Of course not, we just call it.
It's inconclusive, so maybe we should leave it where it is until
So-
we talk more.
So is 250 sufficient? Do you think? That will cover if we advertise this and get some people to use it, or was the 900 more appropriate from previous years if we advertise and get people to use it? So, because if people aren't using it, that goes into the bank, right? And that even if we are running a deficit like we are here with this year's budget, I mean, part of what we put in the bank every year is that $900, so that we would potentially have money that we could pull out of savings to help people travel.
And that, I believe I saw earlier. Project, we have another component. $1,500 or something like that. Yeah.
So this is, one,
Oh, that one was for board travel, I thought that was.
yeah, this is for the,
Oh, I thought that was.
There's two line items. One for full scope and for the board.
Yeah. Good.
yeah, so this is for the board's strategic retreat, and then this is for full scope travel.
Oh, so that's, yeah, that $1,500 is just for the retreat, right? That's not for any other travel, for any other conference.
So
Not according to the note.
the 2250 is for Michelle, and the 2250 is for Michelle, and what's the other lady? Is it Amy?
Yeah.
Kim, that attend the conference, and then is that for her attending in-person meetings like today too, or is it?
So you didn't add anything for going to any other conference.
Okay. So do we want to talk about that? No, do we want that? And
I mean, you're pretty much done here and we're already in the hole.
Yeah. I feel like you're in the-
yeah, and so a lot of, I think what's driving this is one, an increase of the administration fees for students from Bolto, and then also a decrease expected revenue from the geophonic bill. And then other small increases like a $500 increase from our.
And the increase the full scope's asking for in their travel too.
Yeah.
We have discussed historically about increasing fees slightly for like workshops, registration. Well, I know we've had additional members comment that it's still quite affordable compared to other conferences. Just that our conference is quite affordable comparatively with other conferences, and this particular person suggested that you know, that we consider increasing is a revenue maker for us.
Today's world. Probably wouldn't. It would be great opposition.
We just raised the fees, so I don't
Probably
know.
an inflection point. In the 240, 240, 250 probably be noticed.
What about comparing them to like the Wyoming GIS conference, the INO conference that they have, which is if it really backs off of the end of the GIS. And also, I mean, like, I just think like comparing ourselves to the other surrounding states to see what they're doing. I think it's interesting. And maybe I'm wrong, but doesn't our membership in Magip essentially pay for our entrance into the conference? There's no additional. Well, you have to register, but is there a registration fee? for a member?
Yes.
Okay, and what is the additional fee once you're a member? Maybe that's a Michelle question.
It's on the website. I want to say it cuts it down. There, it reduces how much you have to pay for a registration fee, but there's a member and non-member cost for the workshop or for the conference.
Yeah, so a full member is $245, and then a non-member.
And that's early bird, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if late membership is really, or late registration is really being enforced. So. This is, I got these numbers from Lava 5. So the number and then the registration pay. Oh, this one is for Bozeman, and then this is the
Yeah, and I think that if you're considering increasing the cost for the entrance into the conference, you should also consider, like, has the venue increased? Like, have all the venues that we've used in the past increased their prices? Because then you could look like at a cost comparison over 5 years. This is what it would have cost in Billings, this is what it would have cost in Missoula, like, you know what I mean? And then if we see a trend over time that it wouldn't have mattered what city we had the conference in, we as an organization would have paid 5% more. Then I think that that's an, I don't want to say it's an argument, but you can certainly put it in front of people and say it's costing us 5% more, and we have to be able to cover that to still have the conference. So that would be another way of looking at it. Although sometimes those numbers are hard to get.
right, and that, I think that's a good idea. And it is hard, just because the way different venues do their pricing.
Exactly.
Or their facility and budget. Because we see in the this is what they charge us for audio and the facility. But, I mean, those are the
Right. I wonder if we could just look even at room prices in the hotels.
But that's, well, that's, I mean, you're limited on what hotels you can have. That.
Right.
Not a whole lot. I mean, Bozeman has one spot, really, that you had, and kind of limited where we could go.
Right.
Billings, there is a few options, obviously.
So regardless, all this stuff, I think we should take a hard look at the budget, see where we can turn, without raising costs and first.
And then also we just need I think really, and so Michelle some questions about what they expect for supply of printing, and then also what they plan, and then, like what they expect. Stuff.
We got together to review the budget. What was it, a week ago, Mike? And based on that discussion, we'd really like to have the budget passed by next month. So if everybody could, spend some time, take a hard look and offer up places to cut. We've come through with a significant list on what's driving the increased costs. And Nate's done a really good job of trying to find additional revenue to try to balance that. But I think we're kind of really to the edge of what we can do right now. So getting feedback from you all on cuts on the expense side of things would be very beneficial. So, and like one of the things we could probably, I was hoping I'd have access to it, but I can't get my VPN to work, but even like the strategic planning retreat, we can afford to do like the Chico or the other hot spring options, which are the top two. But if we did a camp, that cuts the cost like in half of what the strategic planning, the camps are just a lot cheaper. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel that's a great thing. You know, I mean, that's really the best we look at. You know, I don't do that. But yeah, it seems that would be a great place to think about. I'm also wondering about, there's no doubt, full school is almost essential for our operation these days. But I'm wondering, we can look at our budget and say, well, we could spend this much money. You know, what can we do? And so we can do all these things and we can still not have this month. We can give you this month. What can we do for that?
That's a great idea.
yeah, I was gonna say, that was something I was gonna offer, like we could put it part of our savings and see a CD or something like that.
Yeah. Six, but
Other limitations on the walking community because of our nonprofit.
Yeah, I don't know. My experience with municipalities is we've been able to put stuff into CDs, no problem, but I don't know about a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, I'm not. But if you do it for you, we have to do some.
And they have to talk to an attorney.
And, with the monthly, and going there's a lot of places to eat, a lot of, so we can.
What are the days of the conference? 3 days? That Monday.
It's a
I think it's the 15th of the Monday. That week,
15, 16, 17.
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then is there a half day Thursday as well?
Well, we haven't decided on how we want to do the schedule usually. That's kind of what we've been doing the last couple of years. I have Thursdays.
And is that the day that Michelle is suggesting?
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense.
It's Thursday, I mean, Thursday usually wasn't, I mean, we had a lunch. Then there was, we had that 2 o'clock, but we had a later. It was a full day. Yeah, it was a full day Thursday, so it was a full day Thursday. So we had did a box lunch for everybody. Yeah, we can get rid of that.
that's a lot of boxes on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
do. I wonder how much of that got.
We don't have to provide a lunch every. We don't. Right. There you go.
I do have to, yeah. Great seeing everyone. We'll be.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
For sure. Yeah, see you.
Yeah, the advantage of having the meals is that people don't leave the conference and then not come back. So I can see there's a.
It may, we all also maybe contractually obliged to do meals there too. I think that's
Oh,
part of the reason
interesting.
we got the deal with the Northern is part of our contract is the food.
And I think there's a minimum we have to spend. The minimum might be $1,000. Probably not 23,000.
Okay. Huh.
It's always been, yeah. And then putting it down, it's pretty soon.
Their way to look at it, each budget category over like the last 5 years, and then make a graph and see how much prices are increasing over time, and
Yeah, and it is, so I got 2022 in here, but then it does get complicated, because 2021 we did virtual, 2020 was, canceled, and then it didn't run in the fall. So it is kind of hard to go.
That far.
And then before that, conferences were held every other year.
yeah, so maybe 2018, 2019, and then 22, 23.
Yeah.
See how much each category increases and maybe extrapolate out future costs.
Yeah, I think we need to look at what we're doing.
In what places, like what line items are you spending more this year? Can you pull those out?
We have it in a, so do you want me to just go through these bullet points, Nate, or?
Sure, and then this column right here is the difference, and so anything that's not in Timothy, that's on.
Okay. So
Facilities is a big one.
That's offset.
so it offset it, yeah.
And then administration.
And that's,
Admin travel, that's put there.
So we can cut the budget by $3,000 if we just say Alicia does 2 hours instead of 3.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
That's a good, and that, and instead of saying 2 hours every month, right, and say there's this many hours a year, you allocate.
That's a great idea.
Also, I'm wondering about having two people.
Yeah, so this is all, we have to change the contract from any contract.
And we're in negotiations with the change that are to review that contract.
Yeah.
That's today, that's this afternoon, so.
how long has that been like that? Has it always been that she has a second person to support her, or is that something new?
In Missoula, it was that way, and then in both that way.
Okay, so the last 2 years.
But since we've been using.
Yeah, that's what I'm using for, was not been a long time.
Yeah, full scope was another entity previously.
Yeah.
And there were two people. Michelle and then.
Michael.
I don't think that.
I know, they had two
They
people.
were from New Land, they were.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Contract services, right, and they were. People. Michelle went off, started full scope. Yeah, that's an assistant. That's what I'm saying. We got students put in that, stuff. Get them. Do that one. That's one less.
And just like moderators and volunteers, it could be Magip people that do that too, right?
How's Michelle been with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, these are conversations, yeah. Not so much about it.
Yeah, we definitely have more than just speaking with her at 1 o'clock. We definitely need to have an upside. Whether it's a full group meeting or not, but we definitely have it.
I just am curious, something you brought up, the details of the social media that she also does. What kind of graphic art? How much is for?
You see the post?
Wow.
You know, if you can envision like. the 3D art, that. Without anything else.
Text email.
Yeah.
Right.
So like a lot of the emails leading up to the conference, they have like an image that we created. All the social media posts are kind of creatively designed. And she created the coasters for the conference. I think she designed the back sheet and the poster cards announcing the conference. I think there were probably a dozen or more requests for her to create a graphic for different events throughout the year. From Megan, from, you know, from all the board members. I requested that.
I just am wondering as we move into the new conference here are those going to be new graphics? Are any of those graphics going to be something that we're recycling? So she's not going to be using that time to do these graphics again? Do you see what I'm saying? Like if she used 24 hours last year and part of that time was used to create these graphics, are we going to be using them, or is it going to be a situation where she's going to have to start at ground zero again? And then that time is going to be used. Oh yeah, that's great.
Maybe
That's awesome.
I think a few of them are recycled.
Yeah.
Previously already. From what was out there, I mean, not much, I think we did a lot that we didn't have, but I mean, the templates now been way, just change colors, change the color, the date.
Yeah, I guess I'm just like kind of hoping that instead of, if we don't have it in the budget to increase her time to 3 hours instead of 2, is that going to maybe offset a little bit by being able to remove some of those graphics that she's already created? And it sounds like the graphics add a lot, so it's something we're going to want to keep. Yeah.
Well, those are points along, she may have templates where it does, her time, we're not, again, this is the first year.
Yeah.
So these are things that we should definitely be tweaking as we put on, you know, like I said, like the strategic planning session, which I think she's gonna be at.
Okay.
You know, we can talk about that in a tweak, what you think that she's doing and figure out, hey, you know, you really don't need 2 hours, you got templates, reuse those. Right.
I also was thinking, $23,000 versus the 10,000 that's required to be spent. That's $13,000, and that just wipes out the deficit. Although I like to be fed at the conference.
But if we ask for sandwiches instead of a buffet or something like that,
Maybe those are ways that we could bring it down a little bit.
I don't know how the northern works. It's pretty upscale. So
As I recall, over the years, that seems to be a very consistent
cost.
expense. It working with the W. And then we determine that.
Yeah.
In the conference, like a virtual aspect, like how hard would it be for all of you to do that?
That's, we have talked about, you know, doing like a hybrid or something like that, but that's an additional cost.
Yeah, there's a cost involved.
I'm gonna go with that. It's really complicated.
I
Right.
Right, right. I'm just thinking maybe there's like.
Sydney, yeah.
Yeah. So we have like a higher call, and I know for myself, like there's water costs. And I would.
Yes.
People do want to.
That's a good point, because there were like 5 sessions that I didn't get to see because they were at the same time that another session was. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
But I like, there's something there, something to that. I don't, maybe it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that's-
yeah.
Hey, you can make a conference, you know, the $15. Have access to the-
UC sessions, that's what they do with UC. They make them available. I think it's like $450 to get into the Esri UC.
Well, sometimes my notes.
Yeah.
They're
Mhm.
like, well, right there, but yeah.
I missed that one thing they needed to say when I had to go out. So
Yeah.
I think the Sketch app can be used for that.
Processing.
It's a big deal, because then the audio visual stuff has to be displayed. I was thinking the same thing. That's still- Right?
Yeah, maybe Rocky or MSUB would have something for billings they could.
So what do we need to determine here?
Yeah, because we need to,
Do we need to make a decision, or do we need to just keep talking in circles? So,
No, I think the discussion's been good. Lunch is starting here in 2 minutes. We don't have to decide anything here today.
I mean, we see that we have 7,000 that we need to have somewhere.
So,
And so we've had some great ideas pop up. Let's take a look at food. Let's visit with Michelle and company. You know, from that standpoint, let others look at this budget and see if they have any suggestions. But I think, we've got a still a fairly extensive agenda ahead of us, and not to be the bad guy here, but at some point in time, we've got to move forward with things.
well, we had scheduled till right now to talk, to have this conversation.
No, you had full scope contract approval as well
Oh, crud.
as an action item. And I have a feeling based on what we just talked about in the budget, we could spend another 2 hours on a full scope
Yeah.
contract. So.
Yeah, we need to end. Sorry.
So along those lines. I think this scope is one of the very expenses along with on balance and some travel. Maybe we could look at full scope, their proposal to us. And what would be a comfortable price. You know, they're coming at it with a number, we can come at it with a number. What is that number on my part?
we're gonna get food.
Oh, you have to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay. You just want people. Oh, you got it. There. Okay.
Yeah, these are one.
Oh, yeah, definitely take the money.
I know.
They may not come back.
So let's move on to the full scope discussion. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm just.
I think we've probably get.
What I see is that we could cut $1,500 is conference, like our members attended other conferences. See how much.
Out there, yeah, I mean, and that's relatively. No, that was.
Above that.
So
Yeah, that was for, I thought that was primarily. For the retreat.
that's the retreat. We talked about upping that category to cover going to Marl's or the planning conference. But we haven't, yeah, but we did, based on what we were seeing from the budget, we decided not to.
So that 1,500 is just solely for
The retreat.
retreat. So.
Why advising other one come. Because it,
Wow.
that pays more.
Yeah.
Travel.
To travel to the retreat.
That's the cost of
Yeah,
I think the side note right there might be this.
That's what, yeah, that's what I was like.
yeah, so,
That's why I have a question mark.
yes,
So. I think he had a side note there to just note, hey, should we do something while we're gonna pay for people to go to other conferences? You coming here, you know, every other year.
To add to that.
Yeah, to add to that. I think that was a question mark that he had, the commentary for the budget discussion. And, but the 1,500 is actual proposed budget for board members to attend. This strategic retreat.
But it was.
But it'd be reduced. Is what I want.
I mean, the thing about the strategic retreat, basically, we need, like, 2 days. And I find that it's valuable, but you don't really have that much fun. We spend a day to get down there, then we have a day of discussions, and then half a day of review. So, I think we could maximize that time.
I've never, I know Jason's always said that they're productive, but I've never, you know, all my years of being on the board, I've never made, you know, the trees, so.
You know, they are nice, they are nice, you know, but I don't. I think we could do more with it, but. Cutting that isn't gonna get the budget. The-
It'll drop, it'll get us to.
I think we should look at a 5% increase in the conference registration. Combination of increasing some costs and increasing
So that's $50.
for the conference, probably 5%.
So what's 240 now, right? Okay, so if you want.
There's a tab on there.
Yeah. And you said,
For registration.
5%.
Yeah, play with the numbers a little bit to see how much extra money we would.
So 245, even tack $5 off it, so 250. So. What, take that 105 times.
I think it's $500 extra.
That's. Big numbers.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah, go to the registration.
Yeah.
yeah, there's 27.
If you change the 245 to 250, does it calculate the revenue adjusted? I'm just curious. We'll remember it was 245 and change it back, but. That's basically, there you go. So did that adjust the revenue adjusted
It
to
did.
3,000? Put it to 255 and let's see what happens. No, I didn't change it.
Yeah, 36,000 revenue, 36,000 revenue.
It just
Oh, I'm
doesn't
sorry,
change.
I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was looking at the one over revenue adjusted. Okay, so it does change. Does that impact our, like, if you go back to the full budget line at the bottom, does it change that there? It's curious how he's got his sheets up. Scroll. No, okay. All right. So let's go back to that one. Put it back at 245, please. Sorry. Possible. Okay, so that's 35,000.
Well, I'm looking, he has a price adjusted line right there, where we up the rate to 315.
Oh,
So
gotcha,
it's
gotcha,
in
gotcha.
our
Okay,
rates.
okay, gotcha.
And so that must be what's 315, like 45, that is that your 5%?
Sure does look like. Well, it's a little bit more than 5%, I think. But if you move it to the 315, it takes care of the deficit.
28%. If my, and don't trust my math. But yeah, I mean, that puts 44,350, so take that 44,350, go back to the full budget. And scroll up to what he has in the revenue. Instead of 37, you have 44 in there. That's, so yeah, don't change those numbers.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Just do it in our heads here, but that's, you know, changing that from, that changes to, yeah, 7 grand, so that's another, that puts it 85. Well, that's 7 grand, and so scroll down. And that's it right there. So he was, I think he was already looking at that in terms of that adjustment here on what, if you do that increase. So go back to the registration tab. That's pretty awesome. So that's taking us from 245 to 315. The students the same. Late membership is going out. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, 245 to 315. You paying for that? Yeah, but I mean, if I knew, I mean, you know, if he does that in 24, or 24, my FY 24 budget is already set. It's already,
Yeah.
I couldn't, I'd have to figure out how to get this. But at least then for fiscal 25, because with our ID office, we have to set our budget months before everyone else does. Because they need to build theirs around us.
I'm just thinking of in terms of.
That is a lot, that isn't, I mean, that's, we're talking.
299 versus.
Oh, it's a $70 increase.
Versus $3, right? That's something logical. Jump.
Yeah, it's a $70 increase. Yeah, it is. And so, and I don't know what the rates of building are.
We were able to get a government rate somewhere between 100 and 110, I think, somewhere in that area.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
My,
That's where we were.
my mother-in-law's been afraid of Fox State Great Northern for graduation. Now, one night. $300 for my wife. Yeah, I would have carried her up and down the stairs. So he did look, so it looks like he was already figuring out where that 7,000 adjustment. That's,
So in terms of mechanics, okay, so that we can do the. Everything, increase. Cost, increase of, what we're charging, but just in terms of trying to be responsible with what we're spending, I'm wondering about the mechanism for doing that. Let's say each one of us did that, but how do we come to some conclusion on that?
we just raised membership.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, yeah, procedurally, how do we do it? Right, if we don't do it collectively, do it now. We, individually look at it and make a suggestion and come back. How do we do that?
But the only thing I can think of is have a spreadsheet out there that we could all play with and make comments on, and it's not gonna really work.
We can do something more simple and just have like the top 5 places where you can cut money and the top 5 places where you could raise. And then everyone just votes on that and then like pick 3 to have further discussion.
So when I saw this deficit last week, I spent an awful lot of time on a spreadsheet trying to figure out where it was coming from. The majority of it is full scope. Full scope is increasing their costs for their per diem, for where they're staying, so they've increased their travel costs, and then it's an additional $2,700 for the extra hour. That Alicia's adding, otherwise their increase is pretty minimal. So,
Yeah, and those increases just in line with, inflation.
Yeah.
Right? Except for the one that have some control over that.
yeah,
Great. I mean, I think we can now at the point of concern, how much do you want us? You read?
I don't know if they're,
That's somehow. We want to stay. So that, I think that would be one way to do it. If we could look at increasing the total revenue by, investing.
we,
Parking our money and how we using it. Definitely something.
we can also dig into savings too, and then spend the rest of the year, instead of trying to figure this out in a month period. We can dig into savings a little bit too. So,
Maybe we did them the savings and do a 10% increase over the next 3 years.
You know, and
Well, that's what I was thinking too. I feel like I don't think that increasing the cost of should be something that should be so scary for us, but I do think that when we here, I mean, Eric's point, we all do our budgets a year in advance for the fiscal year, so our fiscal year budget for next year's conference is already done. Maybe and that gets approved that month. So, I mean, I have room in my budget, but I don't know that small becomes this word, but I think a 10% change going from 245 and then, or maybe even making it $12, which is a 5% change. And if you did that over the next 5 years, then it's spread out and people understand that there's inflation. Might be a little bit easier to stomach than one time, 28%. Does that make?
sure, but everything else is going to go up.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that there are some other things too that we've talked about that haven't been maybe addressed maybe as much as they could be, and that would be like the late member. Like if a person is registering late, we could increase that more significantly and get more revenue from that, and then just be really clear that we're going to enforce that issue. And that would be. Oh, interesting. So that's.
Yeah, to help. Supplement.
so I didn't realize that this has been a traditional. Well, 70,000 was too much. I mean, that's 100% of your annual expenses. So almost it's like 90%. You shouldn't really have more than 6 months. So we're about where we should be in reserves. But yeah, you don't want to continue this path. You're right.
But since we do have a chunk.
No, that was one of the things I was going to bring up later in the discussion, is talking about investing in CDs or something like that so that we can take advantage of the interest rates right now. So.
Do you know how we went from 70 to 30?
Purely all learn all with. Well, that's a individual. Not a lot, I guess, it's small enough to we basically manage the wild outside side and do a lot of that.
Well, the other thing you gotta remember too is every other year conference has to cover our expenses for 2 years. And now it's an annual conference, that's covered. Quit exhausting our members. Hire certain things about costs.
And that, but yeah, the we're that trying to supply confidence with 740. Yeah. Yeah.
Slowly, just get slowly. Well, over you, we're talking, I mean, I really wanted to probably be able to talk. So.
So Nate, do you think by the end of the month, we'll be in the black for this fiscal year? Yeah. So we're not digging into revenues this year, or in the savings this year.
Yeah, that's we're still expecting $800 back for sponsorship. And so that would bring us above $4,000 of net revenue. And then for 2022, we thought that
So we're 2 years ago, we got $5,000, $10,000. A billion. I don't.
that's projected.
Yeah.
The conference, better. Too low, but you get a good return back. So it's good to be ridiculous, you know, but. I think that's probably part of it.
So do we make a decision on anything with this, or?
I think push to the next month, right? We're gonna, and what we were deciding is how do we provide feedback, in a productive way, so that we can take action on this next month, right? And
We need to talk to Chuck.
one of the things I did is add action item discussion to the agenda, and I just did that as something to think about. Just because it's an action item on an agenda doesn't mean we have to have action on it unless it's like statutorily required, like having the budget in place by a certain time. But anyway,
When does the budget have to be in place?
before we get to our auditor, so right, we have till January, but what the three of us discussed is we'd really like to have the budget done by the July.
When's the meeting in July? It's on the calendar.
It is the
Does it
third,
have to be
it's the third Tuesday in July, whatever that is.
As long as it's on the calendar.
Does everybody here, does everybody get my schedule? Okay.
Did we get that restarted?
I had my phone just digging up scans and,
Nate, were you able to get anything on IT to get the, okay. I think we should probably start getting going with the meeting. We're already behind.
I think so too.
So on the budget discussion, just to put a
Well,
kind
wait a
of
minute, Start it up.
start recording. Okay.
There you go, Dave. You didn't stop the recording, you just stopped the sharing. Oh, well, I mean, so we're recording.
A lot of me eating my lunch will
I
be
know, right?
recorded.
Me too. I know.
All right, just to put a bow on the budget discussion. There's been a lot of great ideas. We'll try to, Hillary, I'll try to work with you to crystallize what those ideas were. We'll get them out to you. And if you could just take a look, Nate, there's a specific folder or just search budget under the folders there within the Google Docs. You'll find the latest budget and start just working off of these ideas to kind of get a consensus of what we want to do with the budget so we can get that wrapped up next month. And some of the ideas out there are cuts, which I think are appropriate, and also looking at maybe digging into savings if we want to look at that as well. But I think if we do that, we need to find a way to get us back to a balanced budget over the next year, because I don't see any of these fees going away. Does that make sense? All right. So going on to the full scope, I don't know, we talked a lot about the full scope contract. I have a copy of the full scope contracts that I can hand out. So this is the full scope contract. And then there's also an attachment that was also provided to you in the board packet folder. So anyway, I don't know that there's any significant changes to the contract itself, other than the addendum that we had from last year was rolled into the contract itself. And the addendum just added the additional 2 hours for Alicia for additional costs. So again, this actually expires at the end of the month. So I would like to make a decision on it. I'm not sure that we can make a decision on it. And in talking to Michelle, I think they will give us some grace on making these changes, not taking action on it today. So if we do not, or if we do want to wait till next month to kind of finalize the contract, I do think that's okay. Does anybody have any discussion, had a chance to take a look at these contracts and have any discussion on where you think we should go with the full scope contract? Or questions?
Well, I mean, I just want to say that, I mean, I think we're all in agreement that full scope has been a huge benefit to all of them. And without full scope, I don't think we would be able to do anything with that stuff. So time consuming. So that's not a question. Obviously, question. Focus a little bit more on the pricing. A little bit. We talked about it. So maybe 5 hours during conference time during a couple of months, then less than a couple of months during the other time, so that averages out 2 hours into determined. But that's basically all I have.
And I think they provide a polish on our conference that we wouldn't have without them. They did definitely make it feel much more professional than I haven't seen it, the Magip concept, but other conferences that I've attended, it just takes some of the stress and adds polish to it. As far as the services that they provide us, one of the biggest services they provide us, other than running the conference, is the membership services. So as membership dues come due and new membership members are added, Michelle manages all of that.
We've made that easier now.
Yeah.
Because it's March 1.
Yes.
For everything. So I think that is going to be a benefit as well. I didn't see it right away this year, but by next year, we may see it a little bit better.
I see.
They'll be a little bit more organized too, to figure out who's in the groups and stuff.
Can I ask who was in charge of Sedge? Is that Michelle?
Yes.
So that was a new responsibility that she took on last year? Or
No,
this year?
she's been using it for a while.
In fact, it ran the entire conference when we were remote, right, when we were virtual.
We had it even before that. I think we can use the schedule.
Okay. And she's always on this.
I don't know who managed to before full scope and, you know, it's fun. But somebody did,
Maybe.
Probably.
Oh,
Yeah, probably.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess my point is that since full scope has been supporting the conferences, Michelle's responsibility has been switched. That happened.
Yeah, well,
That's part of this.
well, some of you probably, remember the full conference schedule days. That was a task by itself, all the schedules kind of replaced that. All the full schedule, all the bios, all the presentations after that, so. I think that part of producing the program probably had a lot easier sense. So I think the last printed schedule was, I think the Great Falls on 16 was the first schedule or the first full schedule. So I was going to the last.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a book from. So it's probably.
So the actual consulting agreement is the legal jargon in order to have the contract in place, but the attachment really dives deep into what they can or what they do provide for the organization, and it's pretty detailed. Everything from the board meeting support through the conference, pre-conference work and budgeting, the on-site support at the conference itself. And then it talks about the communication support that we get through LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and that's the Alicia side of things. So are we happy with the services that we're getting from that? We've kind of curtailed the web administration in the last year and moved that towards Megan. I am personally more comfortable with that. I feel like Megan does an excellent job. And having less people involved with the website is actually better, makes a more uniform standard look to the website. I guess, what are your thoughts on the services that we're getting from Full Scope and where we need to go with this contract?
How does the second person that attends the conference fall into the contract? So you said there's a second person that attends that we pay for their per diem in their room.
Yeah, it's under the on-site support.
Okay, got it. Looking at the rundown. Is that a person that we're also paying during the year?
No, I think that she is just paid for conferences. Is that correct? I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't ever see Kim other than. Oh.
I was wondering, if I were, go back to the budget. And I wonder if we could discuss that with on here from the host.
Oh, that's a great idea. The conference liaison.
So much.
Maybe they can help us out.
Something of that nature.
Yeah.
That might be a feasible solution. I mean, I think it's agreed that we should do it all. But eventually,
We, in Billings, we have a PIO and then also a public works, public relations person. They're really good at organizing this type of stuff and putting together events. So I could talk to the two of them and see if they'd be willing to, we could steal them for a couple of days on that with a year's, or not quite a year's worth of notice. That might be something that's possible. So. The what?
Since they're PIL.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
The other thing I was thinking of is, does anybody in the Magip board or any of the members have access to Sketch? Because I've noticed in the conferences that I've been at, that on the day of registration, making sure that everything is updated and accurate in Sketch is a really big deal. And sometimes it comes down to like literally the day before the conference, somebody gets sick and they have to reorder the schedule. I just wonder if we support her at all in that. And I'm wondering if that might be something that would be following that your position. Have you ever used Sketch before? I just am wondering if it's ever
Not on the back end, but it could be.
pretty easy. Yeah.
Eric, did you have much to do with Sketch at all? Or was that all? No?
I didn't, but I do know that fellow, they both made changes pretty quickly on schedule. People noticed the typos and some times were wrong. And they just let her know and she made the fix.
So we've talked about reducing services for on-site, having local volunteers to do that. Are there any other changes or additions that you think we should make to the full scope contract?
Well, if we talk about it, potentially discuss hours. You know, that this many hours to be allocated as appropriate.
So schedule out the hours. So starting in November, December, having more hours for the social media stuff as we get closer to the conference, and less hours in other times of the year outside of the conference.
Potentially, right? And that they can use their judgment.
Well, if she's tracking her time, we should be able to judge from that. I'm assuming she should have quite more. What she kind of did, so high volume ones, we could probably, if we're allowed. Say, look, let's get something this way here, and maybe let's end it up over here.
Well, yeah. Well, don't we need that? Good for hours.
No, it's not.
Did you? Yeah. Well,
Yeah, this year, she added an additional hour. Well,
it's an hour from
hour.
Yeah.
Oh,
$40.
Yeah. I had it on the PowerPoint slide. So what Michael said was she's fine with either way. Right now, upping an additional hour takes it to the $23,141, but she's perfectly fine moving that back or to what we have right now, and that would be $20,730. So
that would say it was a bit right there. That's challenging.
yeah. I want to say it's somewhere like $2,900 saving.
Yeah, I would only. We weren't in front.
So I'm not trying to shut down feedback. If we want to continue to have more conversation here, we can do that. But if you all are okay with it, we can take these concerns, changes to the two ladies, set up a meeting between maybe Mike, Gail and I to talk about the changes and then come back with maybe an adjusted contract that we can approve at the next meeting. Does that sound like appropriate steps forward?
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
A motion for that.
With that, I think I don't, yeah, I don't think we need to worry about it. I do have it as an action item. I suppose we could table it if we wanted to, but I'm all right with just moving on and just making sure that that's on the next agenda. So we can go on to new business. We have three pieces of new business. The first thing is the strategic planning retreat. So we did ranked choice voting on that. I wish you could see my PowerPoint, but I'm not going to waste time on getting that all set up with you all. I'll just kind of give a brief summary. Jones Hot Springs and Chico Hot Springs were based on ranked choice voting, were the top two, and they're pretty much tied. The most votes, first place votes, were Jackson Hot Springs, which I believe is over by Anaconda, if I remember right. Does that sound right? It's by Dillon. Okay, so that got the most votes, and everything else was either 1 or 2 votes. Oh, really?
No, but maybe.
Yeah. The 2 actual facilities got the most votes. The camps didn't seem like people were very interested in, although it is a more inexpensive way to do things. As far as dates, by far, September 18th was the date that was most voted for. Everything else just got 1 or 2 votes. I think the weekend of October 2nd got 2 votes for, they got 2 votes for them. And then as far as ranked choice voting goes, the second option was the week of September 25th. So it looked like for most people that regular meeting date for the month of September, that week of the 18th, was the best day for everybody. And there were some people that aren't going to be able to make it. I had that in the comments. So any discussions on the day? Everybody wanted a weekday. All the votes. I got eight people of the total board members responded, and all 8 votes were for meeting on a weekday instead of a weekend. So. So you're saying September is better than October? Is that what I'm hearing, or the?
Oh, during the week is better.
Okay.
Did you look at their availability?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they all had availability that week. I just looked at that week. I did not look at any other weeks. The camps had a lot more flexibility with availability than like Chico or the Jackson. And I called like 12 different places, and those were the 4 that I got the best response from. So
What every day?
What's the meeting facility like? There's the camp outside of Helena?
So there are 2 camps. There's one that is Camp Utmost. Where's that? Camp Utmost is Greeno?
Greeno. It's right near Clearwater Junction. It's like a.
Oh.
It's on the left-hand side if you're going towards Clearwater. Stay there.
Is that the one that used to be-
Okay.
So I don't know where that is in the state of Montana. Is that like close to here, or?
It's probably halfway between Missouri.
Okay, all right. And then there's the Beartooth, which I know that one's down at Fishtail. So.
I'm opposite them.
Yeah.
So
Next one's down your backyard, so you should be pretty good to go to that one.
So the Beartooth is $15 per day per person.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so reasonable.
Yeah.
Do we have to make?
No food is included.
Oh, right, okay.
Camp Utmost is. Have that. Zoom in, that will help my eyes. Camp Utmost is this. No, that's the one that's $15. Maybe. Okay, Camp Utmost is $15 per person per day. And I had an email on the Beartooth
I
Creek.
don't want to have our meeting on camera. All around.
Well, both of them have meeting facilities.
Do it.
Yeah, so.
But do you want to eat my cookie? I think that we should discuss that.
Yeah.
I would say no, but here it
See about that.
is.
Do they all have Wi-Fi?
That's a good question.
I did not ask that question. I know that Chico and Jackson Hot Springs.
So, yeah, those camps, that is great. It's like, they're gonna have something for Zoom or whatever, yeah.
I know there's spotty service in the Valley.
That's a great one.
So the difference between Jackson and Chico, where Jackson, in order to get a meeting room, they have like a main lodge where like a whole bunch of people can stay. They have like 3 or 4 bedrooms. And then they have a studio apartment that can hold another couple of people. And then if people aren't comfortable with sharing, you can also rent a room as well. And I think those were pretty reasonably priced. Let me see if I have that in my notes here. I don't, but I'm not guaranteed that there's going to be any availability at Chico or Jackson because that stuff keeps filling up. And so anyway, I was hoping that we could get a decision today. What are your thoughts after the budget discussion? How do we want to proceed with this?
I'm good with the vote. I mean, I'm good with what was voted. I mean, if everybody picked Jackson. Go with it and then I would move forward with it because we don't want to delay.
Yes.
And if all of a sudden we've lost time or whatever, then we'll have to make some decisions from there. That's what I'm.
Is that something that's provided?
Yeah, both Jackson and Chico were pretty reasonable. If I remember right, I thought I had this all in my notes, but it was around 18 to 20. You've been at Jackson, they have like a bar type thing there. So it's bar food. So it's like $15 to $30 a plate, I think. So something like that. Yeah, so.
Please tell us where.
Okay, I think the consensus is Jackson then, and if I guess I just want feedback if you're not comfortable, like cohabitating with us, and that like maybe we'd have a ladies side and a men's side for the 2 different apartment and a larger lodge area. If you wanted your own room, I think we should be flexible in that way and allow people to have their own room if they want that. So
There's some cabins.
So one of the things that Jenny and who else was I reaching out to on this? I think it was maybe Michelle. I've got a list here of like 14. I'm new to Montana. I've only lived here 2.5 years. So this was like a bit intimidating to me to know where everything was at and where would be a good location. So I'm going to try to polish up this document a little bit and find a place to save it on our Google Drive so that that's available for next year and years coming down the line. So, and you all can add more. Another one that I really wanted was, but it was like $300 a night, was the Grand Union Hotel. It kind of was felt like the Pollard, but it must be a really luxury type. Yeah. So, anyway, I didn't include that because I knew it would blow the budget. So
So there should be.
We already blew the budget.
There should be a retreat folder right in here.
okay, I'll do that, Jeff. So, all right. So do we want to vote on that or I guess we probably should vote on that. So all those who are, can I have a motion from somebody on where to have our fall retreat?
I'll motion to accepting the vote tally that we did on the survey. to accept those.
So,
I think, like, I kind of wanted to go to the
yes, you brought that up too, Mike.
Is that week?
It's that same week.
I think it's like,
Yes, that's Northwest Users Week. Yes,
I don't know.
I have a cold. Like,
Is anybody else going to that? The Northwest User Group?
yeah, cold, that's-
Where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it the whole week? Yeah, it's not gonna work.
That just blew your. Oh, well.
Well, I knew it was gonna be an issue. I just trying to get everybody's schedule together. And
Who's gonna take notes?
You always have to resume. Report.
Right, we'll do the Zoom recording and then send it to you, like, hey, in your spare time.
Or maybe you and I might work.
So easy. I think we've done that previously, but just allow the secretary to be part of the conversation.
Okay, that's.
And Michelle, can facilitate, she can probably do that.
That's nice.
But it's always nice to have somebody to facilitate.
So we have a motion out there to approve what the vote was, which was Jackson on the 18th, the week of the 18th. Is there a second on that motion? So we got Mike made the motion, Gail seconded it. Is there any discussion? I heard your point. It's hunting season. I guess I'm from a place where hunting season is more November or December. So anyway, I forget that you got anyway. So if we want to look at rearranging that to a different part of the year, that's something maybe we'll consider going forward. So all right.
We
Any
have
other?
that conversation.
Okay. All right. So, any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the retreat for the weekend, the week of the 18th at Jackson, say aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, it passes. So we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is request for assistance change. So I'm gonna let Jeff head this one up.
Yeah. I have. I'm sorry, I should have brought this up earlier. Are we still doing the retreat for 2 days, 1 night?
Yes,
Okay, so we're not extending it another day.
no, not with the budget, the way it is. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I just, because I know we talked about that.
Yeah, we did talk about it, and I didn't even offer it as an option. So,
good.
so,
Probably still could, like, got the. Later.
since it's centrally located, it probably, well, I don't know. I've never been the Dillon way. I don't know how far that is away from here. It's like another hour from here or 2 hours from here.
5 hour drive for you.
It's pretty good from Baker, coming from Baker.
Should be there the night before.
Don't drag up Baker. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
It's 2.5 from here.
Yeah,
45 minutes. And head right, head west.
is it pretty remote or is it on a high?
One of the most remote places.
Oh, wow. Is it paid to get out there? Is it it's okay, all right.
It's a lot.
LA.
But it's 34. Is that? the highway number.
Which is one of the reasons I did mention it. It's just
Oh, okay.
because of the remoteness, 'cause I
Supposed to
Googled
know all
it,
of
it was like, yes, no. And I thought about you too, because all of them are. for the-
Yeah.
Except for two.
So.
Well, the bear tooth,
Is that the
yeah.
one to divide?
So
Or is that the
anyway.
one to deal? Or,
It's the same, they do the same kind of-
All right, so we've had some interesting discussion on requests for assistant over the last year, and then even this morning, there was some discussion on that too. One of the things that Jeff has put together here is
Last action.
is some ideas to change the request for do a revision to our request for assistance. And Jeff, do you mind if I turn it over to you to talk about what's in the document here? I know you're.
I might need a visual aid here.
Okay.
All right, so one of the requests was to lower the amount down to 200. Seems like most of the units you can do relative. $200, the cap was at 250 prior to that. The rest of this is kind of just cleaning up data or just reinforcing that we have a policy, and we don't necessarily need to vote on it. So as soon as the request comes in and it's forwarded to the board member, how are you going to want to handle that? If it wants to come straight to the president and it's forwarded. Currently, the email gets dumped to the Magip email, and then it's just a matter of someone, usually Michelle, checking it to make sure to forward it on. I think I was talking to Mike about this. I think it may make more sense to have that email go to the president, and then at least you're able to see it every day or relatively.
And not to mention Megan, or not, Michelle doesn't check. And so it should be on us to be checking our own. So I have to make a point of keeping on every day to look at it. So.
Yeah, so I guess if you do want to go that route, you may want to amend this, because I think you have a second secondary request before the by the administrator before as received. A couple of requirements that changed. One of them was to keep an attendance sheet for those signing up. This applies to the meetup, so it doesn't apply to the rest of the request for assistance. But requiring those to sign into the event. And then the third bullet point is new as well. The organizer must submit a written statement to the board. It doesn't have to be long, along with the attendance fee. To kind of see what took place to attend. We often wonder, well, who attends these sort of things? There are 5 people that show up, there are 100. What was the overall vibe, what was going on, social,
In case we weren't there, somebody from the board was not there to visually see if we like, if we are supporting it, we'd like to have some feedback on it.
Yeah, I like that. I like the names, yes. That, that gets like a written statement or the writing on video picture or the. Oh, that gets submitted to my information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I mean, it's a direct feed to make support our stuff.
Somebody with Michelle's here.
And then the other thing we're just saying, here's 200 flat, you just get it no matter what, or they submit receipts up to.
Yeah, that's
I don't like that idea. I mean, I think we should give them an amount, because then we're not giving them an amount until after. Right?
So that's how it works. Yeah, the way I give the request money to them is, so Anthony Planning had a meetup in Missoula, and we approved $250. She only ended up spending 130 some on beverages, and so she sent me the receipt. I sent her that amount.
Well, I like that. I mean, if that's the way it's done, that's great. I think that's good. And we don't spend that full amount, but we have it at least.
Yeah, I like that too, because I have seen instances where, they're just throwing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that way they were sent a receipt and say there was like a bunch of stuff on there, like we don't cover that without reimbursement. she has some control as we go. Sort of. And all of those receipts are saved in their drive. Okay.
Good.
Yeah, probably one of the other changes on this too, it did reference the secretary and a lot of stuff, like it would say like the secretary will notify the requester. I just changed it to a board member, because I think it's open-ended. So don't have a member of secretary, but there is a few things that the treasurer has to do, and then the secretary will put the decision on the negative minutes, or put the decision in the negative minutes, and then obviously a board member, I want that open as well, that was secretary, that last bullet point, put that, decision up on the negative website. Yeah, and then, this was currently in place, but we're following it, so I'm gonna review the 5-day, comment period would just come from the, I think we have these, discussion posts or set the poll. So the review would come just within, that was forwarded. And then if there's no objection, we'll just, and there's still budget available, it just gets approved on that 5 days.
I have two questions. The first one is probably a loaded one, and I'm not sure I want to even put my toe in it, but the idea of purchasing alcoholic beverages, if you don't have a limit or a cap, is it something, or have we acknowledged that in any way? Just want to make sure that we don't have somebody who's drinking and driving on the road that we funded. So that would be my first comment, and I'd love to hear everybody's feedback. And then the second is it possible that if we're going to request, like who was at Helena, we could get a picture and then send that so we can use this. Could that be?
Yeah, that's kind of what Rob was saying.
Yeah. Okay, I thought that's what you were referencing. I just wanted to make sure that's what it was. Yeah, because I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Supports our.
Is that something that we need to get sign off on, like from the participants, or is the person who's receiving money, or just tell people that are attending, hey, we're gonna use your picture for social media blast or whatever?
They just need to take a couple of pictures of the event.
Right.
And then we're just
We
gonna.
don't need this, we don't need to have.
Yeah, you stand in the corner. Take
Pictures.
those pictures of the road, you're good.
And I would make sure that the person that we're giving this money to them, just let them know, hey, we would like to have some knowledge of what happened at this event and maybe a couple pictures, and just so that you're aware, we probably post this on our website or on our social media sites, just to promote.
Yeah, I think that's a disclaimer,
Yeah.
letting
something like
people
that.
know that the picture will be used, or could be used.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, on the green, we did.
Yep, there you go, that's it.
So with these additions, though, it does require probably a little bit more communication with the person that's requesting money. So it requires this afterwards. And also with your sales and your person. Yeah.
We can probably go with the standard. Like a template, standard response. What, they submit the request and you send your requests in granted, then there's a little thing at the bottom. Strings, where's the strings?
We'll give you money. Put your initials here.
And then for the first question, I mean, I don't know, I think like ultimately the responsibility ends up falling on the establishment to serve safely.
Yeah.
But then also like for the Bozeman meetup, we got $250 for that. We pretty much maxed it out. I think it only paid for everyone that had one drink. I don't think anyone got really drunk off of Magip's budget. But there's a mix, because there's people that drove into town and had a beer and left, and then there's, 2 or 3 people there that lived a block away, so they had, 4 or 5 beers and so.
Yeah, at our event, we paid for food, not drinks, but if we had paid for drinks, we would have been probably very close to budget or over budget, but like, I think we had 15 or so people, and yeah.
Well, depends on how much food that.
did our day one. Did for around everyone, and then I think we probably undershot. So we got. But I mean, I think I came in right around that 205, so yeah. So I have to make a decision if you want to go.
Well, that should be explained when they're asking too, hey, we're using all our money for alcohol. Or no, maybe for sure. That way we can do, help everybody.
So are we looking to create a document that people could download off the website, fill out and email to us on this, or are we just looking for an email where they have the specifics and then we make sure that they follow all the procedures that are laid out here? I like the ideas that you have here, Jeff. I think this is good. So.
I think the form just kind of needs to be tweaked, so I mean, I think
Someone's already there.
yeah, I think a lot of this information just go on through there, but this policy, I guess, was more like the policy procedures. And I mean, unless someone objects to, we've had a couple items where we objected to a certain request for assistance. At that time, it will go up to a vote. But yeah, there's no necessary, there's no need, especially for all the GIS day ones, for anything to really go beyond 5 days. Just to prove out accuracy that happen.
We had survey 1, 2, 3. We could have a survey 1, 2, 3 form. That might be the survey 1, 2, 3 form. Maybe another argument.
Well, they have it's called a,
Well, it doesn't, yeah, it's Google, right?
yeah,
That's what it does right now.
Survey 1, 2, 3.
We have Whoop.
We'll see. Got it.
yeah, it's embedded on our website. That's the form that they fill out to request whatever they want.
So I could work with Michelle then to get the form or Megan then to
tweak the form.
tweak the form.
And to determine what address, like Jeff was saying, we had that occasion that we think that it should go to the president.
Yeah,
So yeah, this doesn't even get amended if you guys are on tomorrow, so next month, so that you include the picture part. And then if you want to go to the president, the second vote. All right. So I think so, they won't attend them.
okay. What time are we at right now?
You got half hour for 20 minutes.
Do we have any more discussion on this policy? Okay, I would entertain a motion. I know it's not an action item, but that I think we're okay with that. I would entertain a motion to approve this document as Magip policy with a couple of amendments. One amendment to include a picture for the event, and another amendment where the form would go directly to the current president. Does anybody want to make that motion? All right, Mike has made the motion. Would anybody like to second that?
I'll second.
Eric seconded. It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion on the amended policy? Hearing no discussion on the amended policy, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor of approving the amended policy, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed, policy passed. All right, Michelle, we'll turn it over to you for a little bit. I sent you a couple of questions. I think I have them written down too. Is there anything that you want? Do you want to give us your report or have any feedback on the questions that I sent you earlier?
Yeah, hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay, Jeff?
Loud and clear. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can definitely hear some of you better than others. But yeah, I can hear good enough. Yeah, so I saw your questions come through and I don't know if you saw my responses back to you, Jeff.
I haven't seen them.
So in relation to Sketch, you had asked, are you guys considering using that for another event? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you do have to pay for that per event. But we do have nonprofit pricing, and if you don't have sponsors or vendors you're trying to showcase in the app, it's $2.99 per event.
So the $600 that we pay right now is for just our conference?
So the $5.99, yeah, so it's a conference app for that event. So it's the pricing is per event. And the reason we pay $5.99 for that is we upgraded to the $5.99 level to include our sponsors.
I mean, it makes, to me, sponsors, right? Rather than, $100 or something.
So I-
To support that is probably a good idea.
So that, I think that might've been Rob all talking, but I couldn't hear what he said.
You know, so Rob just said that that made sense. If it's not sponsored, it may be worthwhile.
No,
Oh.
what I'm saying is, it looks expensive,
Mhm.
right? But it's a way of giving our sponsors a little bit more exposure
Mhm.
to things of that nature. And they provide a fair amount of funding. So
Yes.
it seems like a worthwhile.
Yeah. So Rob just saying that is a very worthwhile expense because the amount of exposure it gives our sponsors.
Yeah. So what other event are you considering using it for?
We were just throwing it out there. We had talked about like workshops or some sort of other outreach type event where we provide GIS training information and being able to use Sketch for that.
Yeah, so let me know. I think if you have multiple events throughout the year, there's like another packaging you can purchase. So I'll look into that. I mean, if you're only going to use it for one other event, I think it's I don't think there's any discount for that, but if there's multiple, I think there was some kind of an option in there. So I'll check on that for you and let you know.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about it.
Yeah, we were just going through the budget, trying to understand what the software does.
Yeah, so basically, you put on the sponsor, none of this would be allowed
Okay,
to basically having a logo.
okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't see your emails come through. I turned my phone on silent.
No, that's okay.
What else, Michelle, do you have for us?
And then the AV, your question about AV for the Northern, yeah, we will get charged for AV, and I have requested a price list. I haven't gotten it yet. But I think in the contract, we get a 10% discount on AV. So I can create, I think Nate.
We
Well,
thought
it was. I didn't expect it to be so high. I thought we were pretty happy with the price. It was comparable with what we were going with before.
so. We just had the budget. Yeah, we're shut. Yeah, we're.
What is the budget? What amount are you looking at?
5,000.
5,000? Is that what you said?
Yeah. But that's what 5,200 is what Nate just said.
For AV?
No,
Just for the hotel.
just for the facilities.
Oh yeah, for the meeting room?
Yeah. So,
Yes.
So we had thought maybe that was the AV was included, but that's an additional cost, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it is, but I will follow up with Katie. Because I think some of it is included, but not all of it.
Okay.
So as far as AV, there will be a line item for it, but it shouldn't be, I mean, it's not going to be astronomical or anything like that.
Not like Missoula where it was several $1,000s.
Right, yeah. And our food and beverage minimum is pretty low. It's only $10,000. So that's all relevant too. So like if the food and beverage minimum goes up, then our meeting room cost goes down. So I think when we were there, we negotiated with her. She said she could lower that food and beverage minimum, but then they have to charge us a little bit more for the rooms. So it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but that's the lowest food and beverage minimum we've had in a really long time. And the reason we did that is we felt like we might be able to do some, a couple of lunches on your own if we wanted to. It gives us that flexibility to do that since we're in a downtown location.
Yeah, there are so many places right there by the Northern. So
yeah.
The big problem with that is trying to get people back after lunch. So
Well,
Yeah, we,
we're kind of during the week, Thursday might be the issue, but other than that, the rest of the week, doesn't call.
yeah, this conference I'm at right now in Boise, we're like in a downtown location and we had 140 people here this morning and we did lunch on your own today and yesterday. We gave them an hour-and-a-half lunch and there's about 80 people in the room right now.
Oh,
So we got a little over half of our people back, but you do run the risk of that, I guess, depending on what you schedule after your lunch. And then you had another question. Oh, one thing, just while we're on conference, I am in communication with Chris at the Delta, just because things book up so fast. I wanted to make sure we had our conference option dates out there for the Delta and Helena for 2025. So I think I gave her the 2nd and 3rd week of April, and they do have availability, and she's working on a proposal for us right now.
fantastic, fantastic.
And then I think your last question had to do with, you guys are wondering if membership, kind of where membership numbers are since the fee increase and the restructure. So I didn't have a chance to pull anything up on that, but that's certainly something I can do when I get back to my office. I'll just have to pull some reports and do some comparisons, but I can put together a report on that.
That would be great.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else.
Report, okay.
Yeah.
You have a question, Dale?
Yeah, Michelle, what's the registration fee at the conference you're at right now?
This conference, the registration fee is early bird is $625.
Is it a GIS conference?
No. It's for gaming regulators,
Gamblers.
for gambling regulators.
So it's government.
But I will say that they all are state government employees because they work for their state regulatory body. And so, you know, similar to you all, a lot of them do work for their state government. So we always request state government per diem rates on lodging, and their agencies pay for them to come. And the early bird registration as a member is $625, and then after early bird it goes up $100 to $725.
Is it 3 days, 4 days?
Yeah, we had pre-conference trainings all day on Monday, and then a couple of those offered professional education credits, and then conference all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, and all day today. And then we hosted lunch the first day because we had some awards to give out. And then yesterday and today we did an hour-and-a-half lunch on your own. And we're hearing really good feedback about that. And then we had a first timers reception the first night, an opening reception the second night, free night last night, and then we have a closing event tonight at a baseball stadium here. So that registration fee includes all of that.
Think about too, the conference registration kind of been around the same price, probably since 2010, 2012, 2014. So
Michelle, have we adjusted the conference registration at all over the years?
I feel like we increased registration fees by a little bit, and maybe Jeff Hedstrom or somebody, if he's there, would remember more than me, but I feel like registration fees did increase a little bit, maybe 3 years ago.
yeah, I mean, maybe
Three.
I don't think we've had any significant increases.
Yeah, it was maybe like $20 or something. I mean, it just went up a little bit, I think.
We'll look at the ERISA, UC, some of these other major conferences. Well, Northwest US is a big part of it. They're all charging like $600 for one. Not saying that Magip needs to get into that territory, but something like it.
Well, like, yeah, $15-20 increase. Yeah, that'd be anything crazy.
And we could,
I think we can talk about that after we get done with Michelle. You know, we had in the spreadsheet, we were digging after you left. We found the registration. We saw that you had done an analysis of approximately a $70 increase for the billings conference. And that puts the billings conference, we do that jump of $70, we go to $315 for early bird or membership. And then all the other rates adjusted. I mean, you ended up, we're projected at 44,000. Basically, it wipes your $7,000 deficit out. So, but that, I don't want to take up Michelle's time on that, circling back to that. So.
I also think, and I know we've talked about this before, your sponsorship levels, I mean, you have quite a few sponsors and exhibitors that come to your conference. Your sponsorship fees are very, very low, but I think we've talked about that before. And I know there's a concern of not getting them if we raise those levels, but those are pretty good, pretty low sponsor exhibitor fees. If you're looking to make more revenue.
Gail was wanting to know, do we have very many people that don't come in after the early bird, like late registrations?
We do, and I could do a report on that for especially for Bozeman. I could let you know how many people came in after. We have some. I mean, definitely the majority comes first, but there are. It's always surprising to me how many people pay the late registration fee.
Those numbers.
Okay.
And if you make it a big enough difference, I mean, it's got to be some motivation to register, to get in on that early bird registration. Because if it's not that much, then people are like, well, I'll just wait because it's only $25 more or whatever. But I think we did make that jump higher in the past couple of years.
All right. Anybody have anything else for Michelle? All right. We're good, Michelle. You want to continue and listen on? We just have one more discussion point. We approved we heard approved the new policy for meetup requests. We'll be getting with you to retool the form there. So it meets with the policy. The next thing was another thing that
We should tell her to see if she can schedule something.
yeah, will you have availability next week to have a post meeting discussion
Or the week after.
or the week after?
Yeah. So a follow up from this
Yes.
meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I should be pretty open. So just kind of let me know what works. Because
Okay.
I will be home Saturday, and then I'm not working on Monday, but then I should be pretty open the rest of next week or the week after.
Okay.
And then really quick, Jeff, and maybe you guys already talked about this, so I apologize if you did. I know you did the survey out for the strategic planning in the fall. Did you land on a date?
It looks like the 18th, or at least the week of the 18th.
Okay.
In Jackson. Is it Jackson Springs? Okay.
Jackson Hot Springs, is that it?
Yep.
Okay, the week of the 18th, just because I'm trying to schedule a couple other things in and I want to make sure that I can come to that. So
Yep.
September 18th. Okay.
I think the availability that I had talked to him about was the Tuesday, the traditional board meeting date. So
Okay, perfect.
that Tuesday and Wednesday, staying over on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really good, I just feel like we have a lot to talk about. So that should be a good strategic planning.
Yep. All right. Anything else, Michelle?
I don't think so. I'll stay on here for a few more minutes. Our next session doesn't start for 15 minutes. So I'll just kind of hang on and listen. Okay.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
So next thing on the agenda is a discussion topic on resuming the fall Magip meeting. I don't know if anybody has some history on that. This ended because of COVID, right? We had like workshops and meetings in the fall, and then when COVID hit, that went away, right?
No, this ended when we did annual.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What we did is we went every other year, and in that out year, we did that all.
Right.
All gathering somewhere else.
Okay.
It was just a shorter,
Right.
shorter thing, so.
Waste of fall and spring out.
Yeah. I think
There's two events out there. Spring meeting and then.
Yeah. It was just a 2-day thing, wasn't it?
We sort of replaced that with the day of the workshops and conference.
And I think the reason that this idea is being rekindled is we don't have a large participation, even though maybe there's not a lot of people out there in the northern and western part of the state.
All the way around,
Yeah, sorry, eastern and eastern,
northern and eastern.
northern and eastern, yes, part of the state. And so if we could offer something out in that Sydney, Glasgow, Highline area of Montana, perhaps we would be able to engage some of the county folks and some of the other GIS professionals that are out there. I don't know, Jeff, is that where?
There's a lot of GIS out there, but I think a lot of people surprised how serious about it. So they have money to travel or maybe they aren't even make it, they don't even know who we are, so. It's probably. That said, you have to stick with that northeast corner, you have it, goes down, capture both southeast.
Yeah, I think that we've done. That
Well, with me, and then we were talking earlier about how maybe providing some money to get out to us for conference and stuff. It was the option was actually going to have kind of thing, get closer to them, so that, for a couple of days anyway. All together, some ways. I don't know if we actually need to have tech sessions per se, or have it a 2-day event, but a night. Just have it one day where we're just going out, hey, we're going to be in city for a day, going to this for a session here and there. I don't know.
I feel like, so there's going to be a survey that's going out through the local government city. And some of those survey questions ask those, well, some of the survey questions are pointedly asking, do you need technical assistance or training? And if you do, what does that training look like? So we were really, well, go back to, what was the gentleman's name who was in charge of the local city? Tommy Lucia, thank you. So when Tommy, in the beginning, actually Eric worked on that with us. So Tommy asked for us to put together some questions directly to the local government city. And the idea was that we could get an idea of what kind of architecture they have, what kind of licensing they have, who they're working with. And maybe, I guess my point is when we get the results of that survey and it's on the agenda for the next local government city, that Andrew Stickney's going to talk about it. When we get the results of that, maybe we can answer that question a little bit better. And maybe we could have the results so that we can talk about it at the same session.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for the entire state library, Tom. I'm going to stick more on my sector of capital. I would be more interested in this would be a good opportunity to bring in other state agencies, provide additional training, DNRC or WP that come along out of mega presenting because I would imagine it's not necessarily just in eastern Montana that we're still going to get people coming out. We're still going to get people coming out from Great Falls. But it could be just a smaller agenda of sort of presentations.
maybe make it an unofficial kind of thing. We're not doing that. I just suggest here's $1,000.
I worry about capacity too.
Bring in, listen, we're not the Magip.
to your point too, if we decide to do something like this, have to put a lot more on us to, all of a sudden, we're gonna have to figure out, we gotta call them out, we gotta call these, we gotta organize all this stuff, you know, that, I mean.
I don't
they're-
mind that. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I know having them,
Yeah.
yeah, no, absolutely.
But that is just basically some negative system here.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Coordination of,
Yeah, like the
you know,
whole,
if you need help with, who wants to present, we're gonna have some first.
yeah.
One of the things that we did in the Southwest GIS user group, so we were the southwestern part of Idaho, and we were stretching a little bit, and especially to the north of us, which is where McCall is. They really wanted to be included in the conversation, and so we had a one-day conference in McCall. And it's, in that situation, for us to drive there is just like an hour and a half. But the people that lived there booked, it was a Forest Service room, and it had all the audio visual stuff, so we didn't have to pay anything for the room. And then all of the people that were in McCall, in fact, Kira, sorry, anyway, she's from McCall. She actually was part of that, and because there was no real cost, and then they opened it up, everybody just went out into McCall to have lunch and then came back. It was one day. And it was really cool because it was the local people, and then we had a few people that had come in from Boise to support those talks. And we also had Esri there. And so when Esri came in, I think they did like a pro demonstration or something for those people that were trying to use the product. So, I mean, it worked out really well, and you don't have that cost of the conference.
No, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. Right, yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, we don't want that, but, you know, if we can get those people that just don't go to the conference, so far away, or whatever the reason may be, you know, contribute to us, but going out there.
Yeah.
See, 44 people registered after for a deadline. We need to increase the pricing. That's a lot.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, if you raised it $100, that's.
Raise it too much, and then, you know, we're like, well, screw it, I'm not gonna do anything.
And Michelle, are you still on?
That's right. When she,
Do you know if that late registration fee is being enforced?
If that late say that again.
Oh, do you know if that late registration fee is being applied or enforced?
Okay, I can't hear Nate very well. Can somebody repeat that?
is the late registration fee being applied?
Is a yes.
Those 44 people paid the additional amount above and beyond what they would have paid if they'd signed up in advance, right?
Yeah, and it's a variety. I mean, when I just pulled the report, it's not just regular registration. I mean, there were some student registrations in there, so I don't think we raised their late fee. So that's the same fee. And then I think there was a couple 1 day. So, you know, it's varying registration types, but there were that many people who registered after the early bird deadline. If that makes sense. Like we have different levels of registration types and fees, so it's kind of a variety of all of those.
Nate, what's the difference between the early bird registration and the late registration in dollars, $50?
It's 245 versus 305.
Okay, so significant.
But they're doing like one day membership, 1 day. It's only $30.
Yeah, they're just kind of a mixture, and some were students, which I think that rate is just 75 across the board, whether they're early or late. I don't think we charge them more. So some
Right.
were students, yeah.
Any more questions for Michelle? All right, going back to the discussion on having additional like technical meetings or workshop trainings. So we've got some mixed discussion going on, some discussion on whether there's capacity for the organization to do it or not. And then a lot of discussion about putting the onus on the people who are wanting to have the training to organize it, get it put together, and then Magip could put together a fund, some funds to help help with the costs of putting that event on, right? Is that where we're leaning?
That was my suggestion, just because we had taken that money and put it into meetups to essentially support that type of thing. Right? So along with funds, was, so the one those people who feel on the part
Well,
so everything we got.
yeah, I just think of where I came from. Everything is in Lincoln and Omaha, right? So 7 hours away, 7 hours away. So we took it on ourselves to put together a brown bag lunch. We had a couple times a year, and we would either take an Esri training together, so we'd all pay for an Esri training and take it together in a room, or we just go around the room and talk shop about what we were doing and what technology we're moving to, that type of thing. So is there a way that we can kindle that, try to find the people who are users in that area and try to get, provide them some structure to do that? Or Mike, you introduced me to a lady from Sydney. I thought that actually, yeah. Would she be like one of the people that is like a key boundary spanner? She comes across and knows a lot of people in that region, and we could use her to put something, or Jeff, am I going off task here?
Well, she certainly would be a good starting point. Sure. I mean, I don't know how much she knows people wise out there. But I mean, for sure, I would start talking to her. I mean, she's only part-time too, so.
All right, everybody, I'm gonna hop off. I took my headphones off for a minute, so did you guys need anything from me before I hop off here?
We're good, Michelle.
Okay,
That'd be a
Thank you.
talking point for getting something started.
okay, see you later.
They had that recent one, we had a group of Highline counties all doing some KLSS programs. I think only one of them got the discussion about getting them all kind of get together in one book, a bigger thing. But at least that at least give us contacts for who's doing stuff, and then you can have someone to reach out to. The idea of a brown bag, I agree with you. I think Magip just floats it out there and says, hey, we'll support you fiscally. We'll give you some like meetup dollars, but like your comment to the brown bag gathering, you guys just organize it yourself. I think if a group on that side of the state, northeast, eastern side of the state has that desire, I think as an organization, as a statewide organization, we say, yeah, we're not going to be actively planning events, but we will provide funding to support any of your active planning to dive into things. Because like I said, I mean, we already put a lot of time and volunteer hours into the annual conference.
Yeah.
You're gonna be extending people, your conference people. If you're telling somebody tasked them, well, we need you to do a second event, as well as Michelle and the company. So I think you hit the nail on the head by just saying, hey, we've got the funds available. We'll be happy to give you some money towards, you have to pay for a room, or if you wanna maybe pull in a outsider. I mean, can't speak to Esri, but I mean, heck, you'll be willing to fly someone into Billings and drive up, go up there and participate in things like that.
And they recently did that, they reached out to that part of the state after they met with Mike and I. So they may already have some contacts out there that they want to continue the relationship.
Conversation with Jan might be a good idea.
So I think we just, as a mega organization, we promote it, we can, part of our 2 hours or whatever, we can promote it via social media type of thing, but also provide a little bit of funding, but I think you're gonna have locals driving the discussion. You know?
Yeah.
Well, just like you did on the Nebraska. You concentrated on the east side and whatever side. And so find someone in Sydney, Bondi, Old Point, somewhere.
I think the challenge. Everybody just provide contact with our working. Contact. Well, I think the challenge that Big Source had out part is the GIS officers are so sprinkled out there. A lot of them is one man, they don't only do GIS, they're doing planning.
You get outside of the top 11 counties in the state, your GIS person is exactly like the who just left the show. You see what the planning, GIS, who is this, I looked at her signature one day, and she was wearing like 4 or 5 hats. It was no different than the lady in Lewiston years ago when I worked for Cascade County. She wore 3 hats. She was weak district there. Something else. Same as Broadway. So yeah.
So GIS training might be more beneficial to them.
Yeah.
I would say so, but I think the challenge is how to get that done. Both our side and theirs.
And how they have.
So exactly, we got float an email out to Mako. They have a pretty wide ranging organization of cities and counties. Yeah. I would start with Jan. Yeah. I think Jan would help a good idea of how many are park licenses.
They are probably good. They could all those too.
Yeah, that's probably a good one to.
What is it?
Montana Association of Counties and Cities.
Oh,
It's just
Counties.
Yeah.
Again, it's the city has their own, the seat is in Montana, so. And get, they're 2 different, sometimes they're with each other, but.
Oh, then there's the League of Cities, the
League of Cities, actually, the seat might be the IT stuff.
Legit is for.
Legit, the IT, well, that's right, I get all that. No, I haven't gotten, that's because I haven't been on it yet. But now that you said it, I'm sure Alexa or Siri, whoever the hell listens to it, will probably.
All right, well, we're in the last 9 minutes of our allotted time for this room. With this discussion here, Mike, would it be worthwhile to work with Alicia to maybe get a post out that we would support that type of thing, or is that where we're wanting to go with this?
I think you reach out to
Jan, yeah, yeah.
It might have
Yeah.
to be individually targeted, because like, I think a lot of these places too, you know, that they know about our social media as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think just doing a social media target might not be the best.
Yeah, I would start with that.
All right, so
Where did this come? We kind of, I think we talked about initially, anyways.
it came up in our discussion with the
Oh, the fall session?
city.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it started back on January, yeah. We're talking about the conference. It's just been on and off little conversation there.
I guess what I was wondering is, it's coming from us, pushing it to them?
Yeah.
Or is it coming from them saying, hey, we want some?
Yeah, I hear that a lot too, you know, so I think that's how it all got started. We hear this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I remember when I wasn't, I mean, I'm a member of Magip, but I was never on the board or anything like that. I like Miles City, I mean, it's, you know, I didn't care about the location, but the fact that it's just, you know, somewhere different. You know, it's out east, I thought that was a great idea, I just thought the whole idea of it, great idea. At the time, and that's, you know, I'm completely for it, but like we've all discussed, we can't sit there and manage that. It's a great idea about having them manage it. We can just feed them and help them, you know, and the sponsor and stuff. That's, I don't know why I didn't think that was great. But, and that's, yeah, I think we should go that route, to be honest, with those, because of the fact that we have the conference. I mean, back in the day, it was every other year, so I really liked it, that we were still doing stuff on those off years. Kind of thing, so.
Yeah, well, also help with the, you know, kind of like. What this audience, you know, the directed audience, you know, just because we have all the safe contacts, we know also we can't have us. We know the folks in that area, so like, oh yeah, you know, us, 12 and 10. Through our resources, why them like other outlets to get this message out to the neighborhood together and us.
That was just general, that's, well, there's been a lot of feedback, a lot of people liking the Miles City was an example. Like.
all right, well. Who wants to reach out to Jan? Gail's gonna take care of it, all right.
I'm sure I'll see her and you're going. Sure, I'll see her soon.
She's not gonna be easy.
No, she's not.
No, she's.
I think I talk to her every other week, so I'll be fine.
I'll talk to her,
As
just
well.
like a good friend.
With that, before we adjourn, just heads up on the upcoming calendar events. We have the local government SIG next Tuesday, June 20th. So encourage you all to attend that. I thought Andrew did an excellent job on the last one that we had. We have the MLIAC or whatever it's called now, Eric. Meet.
Let us know.
Well, not my, it sounds like that's part of the discussion for the. Yeah. So.
MGAC.
Actually be here.
It doesn't, does it?
Yeah, MLIAC is kind of pretty. So MGAC is, yeah. That's the Friday, the 23rd, and I'll reach out to Aaron and make sure that I get on the agenda so that we can provide a summary of this meeting. The LiDAR SIG will probably be pushed into August, and the board meeting for July is on the 18th at 2. It's a phone in. We also have a board meeting on August 15th, which is the second Tuesday, third Tuesday, third Tuesday. They're all third Tuesdays. Again, a 2 p.m. phone in, and the strategic planning will happen the week of September 18th. So,
Jeff, did you get the dates for the board meetings up on website?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I just didn't see my other. Yeah.
All right, I'll check it.
thought we talked to Megan about that, but
I'll double check.
yeah. So All right, any action items that are not action, any agenda items that people want to propose for the next meeting? We'll have budget discussion, full scope contract discussions.
I thought I think we're gonna talk full scope, right? We'll have that side meeting with
Yeah.
Michelle, and then I think the meeting, I think it's gonna. Yes.
Yes,
Approve things.
yes.
I don't know how much more discussion. I
No, we
think
shouldn't
we're-
have any more to say. You're right. It should be.
With the budget, we're not gonna have any more discussion about the budget. I think everybody look at it. Start throwing some emails out to everybody else, like
Okay.
board email about, whether cut thing you guys suggest. I mean, obviously, if we agree on keeping her at 2 hours, we should, that we should cut right there. Whatever else. By Thursday, by next in July there, we come up with a consensus. That way we budget.
Because of the facilities, there's more of that one.
I'm gonna take. I'm down the table, and I'm gonna go over there.
I swear when we were in there, we're like, man, this is gonna be cheaper than Bozeman.
I
And
thought it was gonna be comparable. at
So,
least,
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm highly surprised by that.
You might have to consider, I mean, I know you said that in your membership letter, but you may want, you all may want to consider upping the cost of just to cover the cost.
Well, that may be another thing to help the budget, right? Raise the cost of the consultant.
yes,
Those are all great points.
that is a fantastic
I'm definitely
idea.
gonna walk over there and see what.
Well, Michelle said, she said, the food
You-
budget is 10,000.
can.
Which is, but that, we budget, we've done 23, 25, 26,000. What we've done. But the 10,000 is the minimum. And then that's why we're looking at the 10,000. That's why we're paying more for the room cost. Now, if we up our food budget to 20,000, then maybe the room cost comes down.
It would be interesting to see how much that stuff come down, because I mean, you're obviously gonna spend more than 10,000.
But that comes back to this discussion that we've bounced around in terms of, in this downtown location, there's a lot of food places. So do we not have a couple lunches? Or do we reduce what we serve for lunch? Instead of this lavish buffet where we throw everything out, we just have a couple sandwich boxes. And so, right now you got, if you keep to that minimum of a 10,000 and then the 5,000 room fund, you're at 15,000, which is still 10,000 below what you have in your budget. So that right there is, you wiped out your deficit there as well.
Yep.
But now if you start inching up on your food, maybe your room comes down, but we still somehow find that little magic point in there where we're getting the room, we're getting the AV, and our food prices are just about at this okay level where now, we're gonna be just fine. Maybe we don't have to raise the cost for to attend, but I think we're gonna have to have that discussion that the rate for the conference is gonna have to go up at some point in time.
And I wonder if that can go for the point and going, or if that's out.
It sounds like she's still waiting.
She said she's still waiting. I mean, she said that you budgeted, you have in your budget about 26 for the food, 23 for food. Well, she says the minimum is 10. Well, you've still got a $13,000 sway in there.
Well, that's probably based on.
Like when they
Yeah,
have
right.
guests.
No,
I think you go from 23 to
And
10,
then,
that would take a lot of,
Like,
eliminating like a lot.
Well, yeah, and I'm not saying we eliminate our
It
breaks.
could be one of those things where on the registration, you say,
So,
are you staying? for lunch?
so we don't, we.
And then you could like even have a number of places that you can order.
And she has that one.
Does she? Okay,
Yes.
good. So it's so cool. There's so.
Yeah, I know some hotels though, like if you meet the requirement, like probably at X amount, meeting space basically goes down to zero.
Yeah, you fill the room
50%. So you guys know like what that threshold, say we spend $23,000 on food, what is the meeting space look like? Are we going at 50% off at that point?
Or we get it better. Yeah. I don't know. Guys, it didn't sound like it was all set. So I think your comfort folks are gonna have an opportunity to do some finagling in that. if you will. Mike, do you need a motion for adjournment?
Yes, so, with,
Before we all stop.
unless there are, unless you all want to have more discussion, I would entertain a motion, to adjourn. So moved by Eric, second, do I have a second? Was that you, Mike?
Yes.
All right, second by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.
So, for 2025, it's gonna be here.